Here we go now. 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 go now. Here we 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 go now. go now. Here we go now. Here we go now. Make it clap.
Hello and welcome to the final day, the last day of course, PUBG Mobile Club Open 2021 Fall Split for the Wildcard region. It is a big thanks, of course, to our official media partner, Nemo.TV. And like I said, there's going to be the final day. There's a lot of pressure for these teams. I'm going to be your host, caster, analyst, blogger. Joining us, of course, is going to be Ankit to take us through all these 4 games, the final 4 games for the day. And the stakes couldn't have gotten any higher. But talking about the entirety of the saga, well, what can you say? I mean, Paradox OCE, that's the only one word that keeps coming up again and again with the play that they've been able to make in this lobby. It has been absolutely ferocious, and it is going to be a Herculean task for the others in the lobby to be able to try and topple them over.
And who does other includes? It's gonna be Fury X Nepoz, it is gonna be 4 Godawari fighters, and in the last game itself, we just got to see Fury X Nepoz making a big climb from 6th to the 2nd.
Absolutely. With that, let's move on to the prize pool itself, where we are going to be looking at $29,200 on the line, along with which, when it comes to that first place itself, the team that will be on the chicken dinner winner team, that will be at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to be getting a confirmed slot for PMPL Season 4. A huge, huge undertaking, of course. But, well, the teams are prepped. The teams are ready. They've been preparing for this since the entirety of the saga in PMCO from the group stages itself. And now the stakes have found themselves to the most ultimate position, and of course the teams are going to be bringing exactly that sort of a play.
Indeed, the ultimate day, as we got to see the point structure, this is going to be actually structuring, I mean, the fate and the future of most of the team. Talk about Paradox, talk about Fury X Nepoz. They will be looking to get this 15, 12, 10, 8, 6 points, and also the kill points. But talking about the roster, we talked a lot about Paradox OC and Fury X Nepoz, and they are in front of our TV screens in our eyesight, as now we get to see them getting into the battleground, as now Team Ronak will also be trying to get close and close. But PUBG Minion, NTT Nepal, the Fear Trend, SCL EnvyUS, some teams there are that will be looking to get more and more bucks, as they will be trying to overpass and overtake other teams in this lobby itself.
Absolutely, right there. We did have in the final SCL EnvyUS as well, a team that we were hoping would be able to bring up their gameplay. They have certainly done so, but it is certainly going to be a bit too late, because a few of these teams that find themselves on the second page of the leaderboard, well, it is not going to be an easy task for them. But of course, they're going to be participating for the bragging rights, and along with that, of course, the money that is going to be on the stake, for which, well, they are doing their level best. Because again, when it comes down to the playstyle that has been showcased from the side of Paradox OCE, the competition that they have been bringing to the table with every single game that they participate in, it is going to be a Herculean task for even 4 Godawari fighters of Fury X Nepoz, who find themselves on the 2nd and 3rd spot of this overall ranking. It is going to be difficult for them also to topple over Paradox OCE, because the playstyle that every single time this team jumps into the game with, jumps into the map and match with, they are always ferocious. And we can clearly see in terms of the kill department, I mean, 93 kills. There's no other team in the vicinity of the 93 kills that Paradox OCE find themselves with the 12 matches that they have played.
Indeed, and in that 93 kills, Paradox's Hazer has the largest contribution. We just saw that guy just jumping and every time featuring in that kill list, and it seems that he's the one that looks completely unstoppable. Talk about Hazer, talk about G1, talk about Azrael. That was really making it difficult for the teams to survive. But we need to quickly look on the second half of the chart from 9 to 16 and just get the things settled and have a beautiful scenic of what sort of teams are at that. So at 9th, where we get to see Eliminator 2, and since there is one upward green marker in front of them, it seems that now they are closing on the top half of the chart, and it will be better if they find themselves at the end of the 4 matches somewhere down the line in the top 6 or maybe top 7.
Well, they could. They most certainly could, because again, when it comes down to Illuminate Crew's play style, it is certainly favoring them in terms of the consistent play that they bring, in terms of the fights that they end up taking. It is working in that team's favor. But on the other front, when you talk about Darksyde, SCL EnvyUS, PUBG Minion Esports, these teams, Ixcel itself, these teams are going to have to, well, bring in the best level of play, yes, but it is almost certain that when it comes down to their play style that they've showcased till now, yeah, they're going to have to change. They're going to have to change a lot of things as their journey moves on along from this tournament to the next. With that, let's move on along and have a look at the start between these two incredible teams who have been showcasing some perfect plays for themselves. That is going to be 4 Godawari fighters against Team ZeroDeath. We can see that it's only a 2-point difference that these teams find themselves in when it comes down to the position of them on the overall ranking as well. They are, of course, in the top 5 and doing really, really well. But for Godawari fighters, the play style that they showcased yesterday, that was so very good indeed. And of course, it's not just yesterday as well, because this team has been certainly working on those off positions that they found themselves in, and have been able to completely get that synergistic flow working and flowing within the team itself. Same can be said for ZeroDeath, but the competition, again, it is so fierce. The teams are, every single match that we jump into, they are looking on to creating a mark, and that mark, at sometimes we did see ZeroDeath make, at sometimes it was 4 Godawari fighters, but overall, Paradox OCE always do reign in supreme when it comes to that kill department.
Indeed, pretty much close to points in terms of what we're getting to see. 123 in terms of 4 Godawari fighters and 121 for Team ZeroDeath. But this was the head-to-head, but we need to move along towards that, the next graphics that will be showing certain teams, and that will be really making it difficult for the rest of the lobby.
Absolutely, and as we move on towards the team to watch out for, it is going to be none other than the team of Nepoz, who find themselves on the second spot, the second position in the overall ranking. A team that was absolutely abysmal in terms of the play that they were able to make. Ninjuric yesterday, we saw he was making some incredible plays for himself and as well as his team, with 25 kills, 4,194 damage and a KPM of 2.08 based on, of course, just the yesterday's play. This team is going to be really bringing themselves up in terms of the playstyle, and hopefully even trying to topple over Paradox OCE and the entirety of the team itself. I mean, you talk about Ego, Triggs, Sebo, they're all in it together, and that is what makes a team. The synergistic approach is what this team has been able to work towards. The consistent play is what this team of Nepoz has been able to work towards. Either it be the kill department or the consistent approach in terms of the placement points, this team is always there.
Indeed, I mean, twice in yesterday's gameplay, we just saw Nepoz 2 player talk about Triggs and Ninjuric found themselves featuring into that MVP list. But time for it is to get the schedule lined up on our TV screens, and then we'll get to see what sort of map. Pretty much the same that we got to see towards this whole of this PMCO Wildcard region, and then there we have the 4 last matches for the regional finals, and then we'll get one team crowned for that huge amount of prize pool, and also that PMPL Season 4 1 slot.
Absolutely. We've got, of course, these 4 matches. Just these 4 matches that separate us from knowing which team will it be from the wildcard region that will push on forth to get that slot claimed for themselves in the PMPL Season 4, along with which, of course, the bragging rights. The bragging rights is going to be theirs, and in that, well, these teams are bringing in some incredible plays, yes, but is it fair to say that Paradox OCE will be the one that will reign in supreme? I would think not. I would think not, because yes, that team has been bringing in the stats for themselves with every single day and every single game that progresses on along, but that does not mean that it is set in stone. It is not a certainty, because the teams like, for example, 4 Godawari fighters or Nepoz, or even for ZeroDeath for that matter, are teams who are trying to reign in supreme and bring in that aggressive play against the side of Paradox OCE, and we've been noticing that as well, right?
Yeah.
As soon as Paradox OCE is caught off guard in the first zone rotation itself, that is when Paradox OCE can be completely stopped. And we've seen Paradox OCE eliminated on the 16th spot as well, with 0 kills, 0 points. So if that can be possible from their competitors in this game today, well, then it is going to be a very, very interesting approach that we can anticipate from the other teams that will be participating and bringing themselves up to the overall in the first position. But that is, of course, all speculation for now. It is time to get into certainty. With that, let's jump into the first game. That is going to be on Erangel. Flight path going to be on our screens.
It is already on the way as we get to see Paradox OC from our POV, and the flight path is dominating completely on the eastern side of the map. But one thing is for sure that the teams, those who love to go towards the area of military base and Novorupnaya, will have no fear whatsoever in jumping to the same area, as now the flight path is on its way down towards the area of Kumishki. But certainly cities like Georgopol, Zarki, Shooting Range, Severny, till Rozhok, it seems, I mean, it's not unglidable exactly, but to be honest, I mean, it will be a really tough time if the team needs to and want to jump to the same area. So I'll be really looking up to what sort of approach the team brings in. Talk about the jumps of Paradox OC. It seems that they will be finding themselves this time, indeed. Is it gonna be Novorupnaya? Because Lipovka was under the glide, but it seems that Paradox really do have something other and different to offer to us, as now they're finding themselves into safe haven in Novorupnaya. I don't really know whether they were just trying to target the team of Darksyde and to pin them down in the early stage of the game, because still now I don't see any sort of spot from Darksyde's any player in the area of Novorupnaya. But as soon as we got to see that flight path, we can already see one thing is for sure, that 4 to 5 teams are available on the military base island, as now Roll officials are also present. It is gonna be PUBG Minion, and certainly this time Darksyde has gone towards the military base, not towards Novorupnaya. And barring the fact the circle on a different level, on the contrast, has completely ignored all these players, all these teams on the southern military base and on the eastern half of the circle. This has shifted towards northwestern side.
Wow. I mean, that is what you call a curveball, and that is what exactly the circle has showcased to these teams. Also an interesting turn of events when it comes to the final day's first game on Erangel, where so many teams find themselves on the military base. I mean, this is the first for Paradox OCE to find themselves down towards the Novorupnaya region, and this team is not being contested. That's another approach down towards the Novorupnaya region itself, where the final day seems like a lot of teams are going to be changing the way and the play style that they have brought throughout the entirety of the group stages, as well as, of course, the regional finals. But now, as we move the journey along, it is going to be a lot of contestation onto the military base itself. As we can clearly see, there are teams in the vicinity of Darksyde, as PUBG Minions find themselves in the arena itself. When it comes down to Darksyde as well as PUBG Minions, they find themselves on the second page of the overall rankings. Darksyde on the second last position, I believe, on the overall ranking. When it comes down to PUBG Minions, well, that team is also not looking too good, but of course, they are going to be trying to keep an eye out and trying to, well, dominate and bring in the points for themselves, because if nothing else, well, there is certainly money on the line, and there is, of course, going to be a pride that will be showcased from their side. And PUBG Minions, whenever we've seen this team, well, they do try and dominate, they do try and take on fights for themselves. But for now, it is going to be Darksyde who have been able to get decent loot for themselves. But of course, there's so much more that can be expected off of them. But being out in the open like this is going to be tricky. But seems like PUBG Minions are not really interested. Seems like PUBG Minions are going to be falling back and moving away from the entirety of the saga, and Darksyde have this entire region to themselves.
Will they chase? Will they chase? The way that the coups have been brought into this military base island, it seems that they might give the fight. And you just mentioned, I mean, the prize is on the line. I would like to add one more thing. The will to survive till the last, the will to fight till the last breath is one thing that we can clearly see. And it was certainly a contestation that could have erupted between the team ranking 13th versus team ranking 15th, but it seems that for now it is not going to be the case, as the fight is being averted, as now the players are finding themselves into safe haven, and the beautiful looking Tesla is on its way, as now Paradox is where we are getting to see. Now they're finding themselves into this area of Novorupnaya, completely shocking us, completely shocking everybody else. This time they have not gone towards the area of Lipovka, and maybe somewhere down the line they would have given that second thought that we might be challenged in the same area of Lipovka, then why not to surprise somebody else in that region. And till now we have seen Darksyde into the same area, and this time again no sort of drop change by Fury X Nepoz. That means they might be facing the brunt, as now Rogue Nation, the team that got the chicken in the last game of yesterday's gameplay itself, in the game of Erangel, they are stepping up in this very first game of Erangel, and it seems that Erangel is the strong suit at which they are trying to make the most of the situation. And why not to make, I mean, these are the last 4 opportunities, just go all YOLO. I mean, they don't have, I mean, they have something to lose. I mean, they can really go down in the terms of their money they can go out for. But certainly this team has really showed their prowess in yesterday's game itself. And then we get to see ZeroDeath really making a mark in his gameplay. But Trix is on a charge. And this shouldn't have been there because he was certainly knowing the exact position of ZeroDeath. He will be getting the assistance of Hitman from the backhand side. And Rogue Nation becomes the first team in this final day itself, the very first game of Erangel, to get the first blood. The knock was certainly converted into kill. Hitman comes in along with the Rogue Nation others player, FuryX Nepoz. They really need to make sure because it's just the moment where the things can really slip off and slip away from their side because Paradox OCE have certainly something else to offer to us. They have certainly changed their stances, and so has not been the side, so has not been the case from the sides of FuryX Nepoz.
Absolutely, that was unexpected. Most certainly not the play style that we anticipated for the side of FuryX Nepoz. Of course, for them as well, this has turned into the X factor that we were talking about. Well, the X factor in this fight, of course, is Rogue Nation. But when it comes to the team to watch out for, it was supposed to be FuryX Nepoz. But right off the bat, they're the ones who are going to be bringing in, well, the first blood situation against them, and they're going to be left with a three-man approach. But again, that's absolutely fine, because again, when it comes down to a three-man approach, it does not mean that it is the end of all conversations. It does not mean that the game is done for you. FuryX Nepoz is a very skilled team, and hopefully will be able to get themselves acclimated and will be able to punish and push on towards their opponents and be able to get those points working for themselves. On the other front, when it comes down to Rogue Nation, perfect start for the side of this team as these teams found themselves at the edge of the zone. It is Rogue Nation that walked away with a kill against Triggs from the side of FuryX Nepoz. And again, when it comes down to FuryX Nepoz, well, they're none the wiser. They're going to be sticking to the exact same position for now. And of course, when it comes down to the play that they're trying to make, they need to get their hands on some vehicles. That's going to be the most important thing for them right now. They need to get hands on some vehicles because being out in the open like this, there are bound to be other teams that will be able to catch you and, of course, bring you down. And that is exactly what Trix found himself in, this kind of situation that was that is always possible in the battleground of PUBG when it comes to the playstyle. FuryX Nepoz are sticking to that exact same rhythm that they always have, and if they keep on doing so, well, it might just favor them, might not, because so many of these teams that they've been playing against have also been doing their homework. And when it comes to that homework, it is finding out what drop locations the opponent teams are going for, what sort of rotations are the other teams going for, and having played so many games during the group stages as well as right now, this is where things are going to get trickier and trickier for so many of these teams, and that is where SCL EnvyUS comes into the picture as well, where the Legends have been able to get SCL EnvyUS off guard, and it is SCL EnvyUS not off to a good start as well, as they have seen one knock against that team, and it is going to be the Legends approach as to will they be able to confirm that kill for themselves.
The match right off the go is on our side where we're getting to see a lot of teams that are being caught off guard. Talk about Feriwala, I mean, he has been completely pinned down, and Legend right off the go, they are looking pretty much phenomenal at this moment, and it's really a good chance for them to actually increase their tally of total kills and points, and that will be resulting the tally of total prize pool that will be taking away, because I mean, it's pretty much impossible for them to find the slot, because it's already Paradox, it's already FuryX Nepoz, it's already 4 Godawari fighter in contention with the hashtag 123, and then we'll get only one, because only one will be getting away for that PMPL Season 4 slot. Before that, there is a lot of things that are lined for the sake. I mean, they can really have practice for their future games itself, and they can really have those influential game itself here, and they can really make a mark leaving this lobby before all the 4 matches end. And it seems that Illuminate Crew is also finding themselves in some sort of contention, as now they are getting hold of that important Mount Everest that we get to see on the southern side of Georgiapol, and these sort of circle shifts we have seen in the yesterday's game itself. And if keep constricting towards the Georgiapol area, there is a high probability that the final circle might be favoring teams like Illuminate Crew. But certainly there is a chance where we just got to see those sort of circles where that shifted towards the northern Georgiapol in yesterday's game itself, and that is where a team Ronak can really have a very good day. In yesterday's game itself, they were not able to get a chicken, but they were pretty much close to getting that chicken. But this is one time where they can really have a very good time. But as soon as PUBG Minion made a rotation from the area of military base in the very initial game itself, we just saw that the players are not trying to make a charge with ZeroDeath players getting cut off. Pot I was the one that has been given the revival, but it is going to be a complete charge which needs to be stopped. Else, PUBG Minion is looking pretty strong at this moment.
They most certainly are, with the nade parade being showcased from the side of Smith OP with his Carrel approach. He is going to be bringing down Glitch YO, and in doing so, the charge has worked in this team's favor, where PUBG Minions are going to be trying to reign in supreme. And as they do so, of course, Glitch YO is the only one who has been brought down, but along with that, by a word, Pot I has also been brought down. Smith OP is absolutely bringing in some perfect onslaught, and his teammate Magara is also going to be bringing in an onslaught. But a nade that was dropped in from the side of ZeroDeath will be bringing down PUBG Minions one player. But what a play! It is going to be Magara's his own nade, his own team's nade, that is going to result in him being knocked. But of course, for now, he will be able to get a revival as his teammates are right there. And the final player from the side of ZeroDeath, Smokin, is the man who is going to be moving away to get himself, well, at least surviving for a little bit longer. We shall see if he'll be get caught or not, because he's just a one-man army. For now, he's certainly going to be approaching the entirety of the game with just a fallback approach and trying to work towards just the placement points, because just a one-man squad is not going to be an easy task against this ferocious lobby.
Just escaped the death. The last player escaped the death because PUBG Minion is on a roll in this very last game. In this very last day, first game itself, they still have 4 opportunities, and PUBG Minion is the one team that really have that high fragging gameplay. They really have those aggressive teams. But for now, it is going to be Entity Nepal trying to pin down the players from the sides of Fear 10, as Evil Lord is finding himself in that buggy, and it seems that 1v1 from the sides of Entity Nepal knows this pretty well, that there is someone, and this is going to be the time where he will be completely peppering him with that 5.56 lead. He really brought him down to 50 HP, and then he just found himself in a position where he couldn't have done anything else than to just fall down. But on a different tangent, it is going to be now Team Ronak that is trying to pin down the players from the sides of Fear 10. As soon as Fear 10 was trying to retreat and find themselves away from the crosshair of the team that were really trying to pin them down, Evil Lord just found Team Ronak's crosshair, and this is going to be sad demise for him, because, I mean, you are finding yourself somewhere from different situation and then you land up in some different difficulties. This was a detrimental thing that can really happen to them, and Team Ronak is looking unstoppable at this moment. A shooting range has been completely covered, and they are having a stronghold at this moment with the players moving all along. We are getting to see all the 4 players in that 4-pack situated in the same areas, and the fight is still happening into the area of Northern Georgiapul.
What a play that has been made from the side of Fear 10, indeed, as they got away from that perfect ambush that could have been created. Now this team is trying their level best to bring themselves against their opponents, but Team Ronak, they have the better information as well, and they are trying to confirm a kill for themselves, a point for themselves. They can clearly see right now it is going to be Summer with his DP, who has been able to, of course, spot all the smokes that are being naded, or rather showcased from the side of Fear 10. But will that revival be created for that dude? We shall have to see. On the other front, Ixcel is now going to be reigning in supreme against the players of Fear 10, and the final player from the side of ZeroDeath, well, he's just chilling. He's just chilling for now. He's not left with a lot of options. All he can do is try and survive for as long as he possibly can. And the team that brought his teammates down is still going to be in the vicinity. And that is going to be none other than PUBG Minions themselves. And all 4 of them, it seems like, are going to be pushing on to the exact same watchtower.
They are coming in, the deaths are coming in. All the 4 players are charging in onto the single player from the sides of ZeroDeath. Smoking is already down to 60-70 HP, and he is also getting shots from different directions. That means the squad house of that Georgiapul area is also being occupied. Will he able to survive? No, he won't be, as he falls down, as one more kill, one more knock has been secured from the sides of PUBG Minion. That means the fate was already sealed. It was already written in his destiny to go down from the sides of PUBG Minion. How hard he tried, he really gave his heart out, he really tried, but as soon as PUBG Minion found himself in that closer to that watchtower, it was an all end for them. But it seems that now, as soon as the players are making a move from the Georgiapul bridge, the Legends are punishing down the players of Rogue Nation, as now one player just fallen down. 2 kill is what with which Legend Esports are standing, and also the fight between Rogue Nation and Legends are just not ending. And we have just saw Legends are just picking away the players in different directions, in different areas, and it is going to be a tough task for G1. One more lead gets connected, Smith takes one more knock, and PUBG Minion looks unstoppable at this moment, as now they're trying to take the fight against one big Goliath, and that is the name of Paradox OC, the team that is still standing on the first position with a total of 75 points is being pinched down by a team that is finding themselves at that 13th position.
What a play that this team of PUBG Minion is making. From the second page on the 13-14 position, this team is reigning in supreme and trying to absolutely pinch down whatever team that they can find their hands on. And it was, of course, Paradox losing G1 right there, thus leaving them with a 3-man squad right here. And of course, their information, or rather their position, their compound position has been given away. In doing so, it is going to be PUBG Minion's team that will try and reign in supreme. But on the other front altogether, it is going to be PA10 who find themselves in the close vicinity of Entity Nepal. And Entity Nepal at the receiving end are not able to retaliate against the perfect push that has been created from Fryo. And he will be taking the entire team down. 2 kills to him. Perfect play. 2 points to the entirety of the team, PA10 as well. A decent start to their onslaught into this lobby. We're left with 14 teams still remaining as we move on into the 15+ minute marker. On the other front, it is going to be Face of Death, a team that is still on the first page of the leaderboard in the top 8, have not gotten a chicken dinner, have not been allowed to get a chicken dinner, jumping into the kill feed, bringing in some knocks for themselves, but we shall see if they are going to be able to, well, today being the final day, will they be allowed to get that chicken dinner for themselves?
At least they need one. They need at least one, because apart from them, all the 7 teams in the very first half of the chart from 1 to 8 were getting and has gotten eventually the chicken. Some teams have really gotten 2. Talk about Paradox, talk about Fury X Nepoz, talk about 4 Godawari fighters. I mean, all these 3 teams have gotten 2. It is also Team Ronak. Even if they have gotten 2, they're still finding themselves at the 7th position, and just because of that consistency, they have lacked somewhere down the line, and it seems that this is going to be a Georgia pool finish. Maybe I would really want the PUBG God to let that great finish going on, and then we can get to see some real ruckus, as now Face of Death is really reigning supreme in this area and just trying to hurl down the death onto the players of Team Ronak as they were trying to make a rotation. And the best part for Face of Death is they are really controlling all the crates that really marks the territory, the entry of Georgia pool, the very front end. And if they are at this point, they will be really catching any team that will be trying to make a rotation from that angle, and this is one good thing that they can have. They have some good amount of loot, as still Georgia pool crate, it seems that is unlooted, as we can get to see the medkits are still available. And this is one good thing, that even if they are getting a lot of shots, they can use those medkits and then get that refilled in their back. But as soon as the PA10 was trying to push it, it seems that Ixcel's players are going down one by one. As Kayak goes down, Kayak has been finished, as Ragnar is on a roll. 3 kill is what with which PA10 is standing at this moment, and they really need all these kills. We talk about the gunpowder, we talk about the aggression. PA10 is 10 upon 10 all onto that, and all of a sudden it seems that Fury X Nepoz looks unstoppable, as they were trying to make an entry from the western side, and it seems that they are indulging themselves in a fight on the western side itself. But the fight that we are still on to it, we are still looking at to it, is gonna be Ixcel's. They are really looking to take up the revenge, as why the one player from the sides of PA10 has been knocked and has been chopped away, and that has gonna be Kayak. So now 3 players will be trying to take up the revenge, the redemption that they're really seeking for. Is it gonna be enough for them? Because they really need to make sure, because from the backhand side there are certain teams that are coming in, and if they don't make a watchful eye, and they don't have a watchful eye, they might be pinned down from the same direction too.
It could very well be the case. We are looking at this fight that has been going on, or rather extending for quite some time, between Ixcel and of course PA10. But on the other front, when it comes down to the playstyle that Rogue Nation have been creating for themselves, it is looking absolutely ferocious, as now they push on towards the players of Darksyde. They are trying to get those points confirmed for themselves, but yes, they will be able to confirm those points absolutely with 3 points to this team. This is looking really neat for a Rogue Nation indeed, and now it is going to be all up to the player that is going to be Klaus from the side of Darksyde to get himself surviving for as long as he possibly can, because the perfect push that has been created from the side of Rogue Nation is certainly going to be on a point, and that's pretty much it. A perfect nade from Admiral from the side of Rogue Nation is going to be the end of the side of Darksyde. And in that, we are left with just 13 teams remaining with 19 minutes into the game, 4th zone. Now things are going to get trickier and trickier for these teams, because when it comes down to the area itself, there's not a lot of space that is left. Right here we do have PA10's player. Well, what a play. Darksyde has been eliminated, yes, but PA10 right now trying to eliminate the player, the final player from SCL EnvyUS, and that dude is absolutely comfortably sitting in his buggy in the water, but is certainly not going to be bringing, or rather giving away, any information. And it seems like Evil Lord is waiting just for that. It seems like Evil Lord was waiting to get that kill confirmed for himself. But on the other front, it is going to be Paradox who have been caught in terms of that rotation that they were trying to make. And in doing so, it is going to be Illuminate Crew's players who have been able to confirm the first kill for themselves. And that too, it is none other than Paradox that they were able to get their crosses above.
I still don't understand why they really changed the drop location. I mean, not only the drop location, we are getting to see the roster change. Quit is playing today. That means maybe he might have come in replacement of SRL, and that can be one thing that can really hamper the chance in getting to that more and more points, because there are certain teams we are getting to see FURY Nepoz again and again finding themselves in the kill feed tally. That means they are increasing their tally, and not only that, they are successfully finding themselves in the comfort of the zone, as now we are getting to see themselves centralized in that sitting in the centralized position with all the three players alive. It seems that one player have been knocked and finished away, but still three men can do it and make it really difficult for the lobby to survive. But we are still, the fight is still on, as the Georgia Pool warehouses are still under contention, as now I8 is trying to pin down the players, and the team that is going to be Ixcel that is trying to give a challenge and eliminate Crew. Sehang all of a sudden is looking completely unstoppable at this moment, as yet in 1v2 situation. MVP, will he go down? Yes, he will go down, as Assassin is the last player surviving, the only one player surviving. He does in this situation, two players takes down, and that has resulted him getting two important knocks, two important kills, and most importantly, the points that the team was really waiting throughout the course of this tournament. And in that, we are now getting to see 4 Godawari fighters also in a different sort of situation. They are in a turmoil, as now one player has been knocked down, Zero has been finished away, and it's important to get Zeems Gaming back on his feet.
It is most certainly going to be crucial for Zeems Gaming to be brought onto his feet, because when it comes to 4 Godawari fighters, well, that player, Zeems Gaming, is the X factor that does play absolutely ferociously and perfectly for the side of 4 Godawari fighters, and is the man who keeps the team alive. And on the other front, talk about SCL EnvyUS' player who is just swimming with the fishes. Shafi, the final player, is going to be finding himself into the zone, but as soon as he does, Team Ronak will get the better half of him. On the other front, when it comes to the Legends player, this player right here, Panda OP on our screens, is trying his level best to bring down the players of 4 Godawari fighters with an 8 parade, but 4 Godawari fighters are going to have the better luck this time around and will be able to confirm the knock and confirm the elimination of the Legend Esports. With 5 kills is what this team is going to get eliminated. An interesting playoff events right here, where we're left with 8 teams remaining. Paradox has also been eliminated. We do have 8 teams wherein it is going to be reigning in supreme from the side of I8, where this team is going to be just bringing in kills for themselves, with 4 players still surviving. 6 kills is what this team find themselves. On the other front, when it comes down to our screens, we are of course looking at Royal Officials with the 3 defeats that they've been able to confirm, and of course along with that, when it comes to the area that they find themselves in, that warehouse that they find themselves in, it is going to be giving them the exact cover that is required. And FOD out in the open, it is going to be Illuminate who will get the better half and will be able to completely pincer that team down. 8 kills already for Illuminate Crew. This is looking like a game that is just favoring Illuminate Crew again and again as the game pushes on along. But the circle is going to be the X factor this time around, where the teams are going to have to start trying to work towards the zone itself, and when they try and do so, it will be a third-party situation that they find themselves in.
They are pushing. They are certainly pushing, as now Aldar goes down, and the onslaught still continues on the side of Illuminate Crew. Since Paradox has been removed, it is the best chance for FURY Nepoz to get this converted into at least a 20-point match. If that happens, they will be really in contention, but it is not going to be the case, as now all the 3 players are coming in. One grenade has been hurled into where the Ninjurik is still standing, and Ego is going to be the one that is really getting all the 3 footsteps. Ninjurik can really lob in 1 grenade, and that can do a detrimental amount of damage, as now I8 players are going down slowly and steadily. Ego is on a charge. He jumps away from that window, and from the different direction he's trying to come in, and that is going to be marking the end of Illuminate Crew. You just cannot mess with the guys of FURY Nepoz, because they have their objective sets. They have their eyes set upon onto the first position. They still have 2 players left. They still have a lot of kills in their hand, but in doing so, it is going to be Team Ronak. The only player surviving itself is going to be Ronak, as now Summer and Laling is just bleeding away. They need the revival. They are on the edge of the circle, but it seems that nobody is having their eyes set upon onto them. But what a fight, what a way to actually let not their feet getting breached from the sides of FuriX Nepoz, as now they're also looking strong. But this circle shift will eventually decide whether they have to vanquish and relinquish the compound or they have to still play from that.
Well, talk about Royal Officials in all of this saga. Royal Officials is the team that has the compound working in their favor, as well as the numbers advantage working in their favor. Team Ronak trying their level best, of course, to get themselves moving on along into the zone itself, but they have been caught, and this is going to be the play for FuriX Nepoz to be able to convert the kills for themselves. It is going to be Ego right here on our screens, who has been absolutely pincering down the players of Team Ronak, and in doing so, the kills is what this team will be getting for themselves. Just a few more bullets on towards the final player of Ronak, and it is going to be the end, and that is it. We've got 9 kills confirmed for the side of FuriX Nepoz, and this has brought us down to 2 teams. Royal Officials, a 4-man squad, against the 2-man army of FuriX Nepoz.
Haven't seen a better use of SLR in this, at least Wildcard Region Club Open itself, and that was certainly from the sides of FuriX Nepoz. They are really making it happen. They are so much flexible in terms of the rotation, in terms of their gun gameplay. They are really making it everything happen. And now Royal Officials have to make a comeback into the zone, but Ego is not going to be allowing them, as now through the smoke cloud, how on is this hurt? He is just trying to spot down the player. This is looking absolutely impeccable for this moment, as now FuriX Nepoz is going for a charge, but certainly it is going to be Royal Official. The player was still on the knock. Sai has been given the revival, but Smoko's decision to make a move on the edge of the circle are certainly going to be hampering the chances of FuriX Nepoz, as now Ego is on a move through the help of Buggy. Royal Smoko has spotted him down. It's just a matter of time. Well, he will be able to take him down, or will Ego will he be able to take him down? It's still that Smoko is still under contention, as now Ego finding himself on the backhand side of the buggy, tries to take one more player down, and all of a sudden the tides are changing. The tides are really making it difficult for Royal Officials. It is going to be 3 versus 2 situations where Ninjurik is finding himself in that smoke cloud, and it seems that his location is also revealed, as Grenade has done a detrimental amount of damage.
Well, what a play this has turned out to be. This is going to be Royal Officials now finally making a push against the final player of FuriX Nepoz. Ego is the final plan surviving. He did make that rotation in that buggy, but in that doing so, he's given away a lot of information to the team, and what a nade parade being showcased from the side of Royal Officials. This is not going to be an easy task for Ego, and in that, he is going to be caught and absolutely pincered down with the 3 players of Royal Officials. What a play, what a game, what a start to the day. Amazing turn of events indeed, and this has resulted in the side of Royal Officials getting themselves on the 3rd spot of the overall ranking, looking pretty neat, of course, with the 23 points that they were able to accumulate in this game. 1,413 damage, 8 kills in total. But one thing we have to admit, Royal Officials had it easy. They had the cover of that warehouse that played a humongous role in having all 4 players of theirs surviving. But FuriX Nepoz, well, that team did not have it easy. That team was an army by themselves with just the 2 players, Ego as well as Ninjurik. I mean, those 2 just absolutely tried to pencil down whatever team they came up against, and in doing so, absolutely ferociously held their ground for as long as they possibly could. But GG play for RF Officials. That is the game. I mean, you find yourself in a decent compound, you find yourself in a decent part of the entirety of the circle, you keep all 4 players alive, you will get the X factor, you will get the best advantage, and that is what Royal Officials have showcased in this game, and getting away with that, they find themselves, of course, on that 3rd position. But alongside all of this, when it comes to the MVP, I'm hoping it has to be somebody from FuriX Nepoz because of the playstyle that they were playing along with this entire game. Well, we'll see. We'll find out who the MVP will be. But on the other front, Paradox, they were caught. Yeah. They were completely caught. First time ever that we've seen them make a very different drop itself, and when they did, the rotations that they were trying to do itself were pincered down completely, and they were just absolutely eliminated and not allowed to be a part of the fight, part of the game itself. And with that, the MVP on our screens, it is going to be none other than Ego from the side of FuriX Nepoz with 5 kills, 795 damage dealt.
Whenever his Ego is hurt, he is the one that really makes it happen for himself. We have seen in the past this lad eventually featuring again and again into that MVP list, and this time itself 5 kills, 795 damage. Survival time is also a decent one, no assists whatsoever, healing done 374. He was the part of the fight for a very, very long time. Talk about him taking down the players of Eliminate Crew, talk about him taking down the players of Team Ronak. They were in contention, but his also other teammates, talk about Ninjurik, was also the one that was really working in tandem. and that's the reason we find him itself into the top player list. And then we got to see Smith some really bamboozling moment from his side, because we got to see some real good moment where he used the grenades to perfection, and he was the one that was really making it tough for the lobby to survive itself from the sides of PUBG Minion. But then we move all along for the match summary, where we got to see Ego, the highest one that got the number of 5 kills is what he is for the moment. 276 meter is where Eliminate Crew on fire just toppled everyone else with that longest kill distance. And then we got to see again Smith OP in that maximum assist of 3. And then we move to get to see what sort of performance the team made in the match ranking, where all of officials are certainly getting a lot of points. They have certainly moved from 5th to 3rd in just a in match span of 1 with just 23 points.
Absolutely, and just 1 point shy is where FURIX Nepoz find themselves on that second spot with 22 points and 10 kills confirmed for themselves. The entirety of the first page, we can clearly see that the teams have been able to accumulate decent points for themselves, either it be the placement point or the kill department itself. Eliminate Crew on the 6th spot, we can see with just 2 placement points, but 9 kills to that team. And as the journey pushes on along from that top 8 towards the 9th, that is where the kills kind of stop. Rogue Nation with 5 kills, and then after that, from Face of Death to Paradox E2, SCL EnvyUS to Ixcel, Darksyde, and NEPAL, Team ZeroDeath, they were not allowed to be a part of that kill department whatsoever at all. And of course, that resulted in so many of them walking away with 0 points. So, not the play that was anticipated, especially for the side of Ixcel and Darksyde, because, well, they find themselves on the bottom of that leaderboard pretty much, and that is something that they ought to be working towards to change. SCL EnvyUS is showcasing that, trying to at least, because as soon as I say that, the total damage is going to be brought onto our screen, and the graph showcases SCL trying their level best is 40 damage is what they were able to bring in with 0 kills, so not the playstyle that they were hoping for. Same can be spoken about Darksyde as well, because 0 damage as well as 0 kills. So a lot of teams, again, as we just saw in the match ranking as well on the second page, a lot of these teams were not allowed to participate in those fights. And for the side of Ixcel, they did participate. They had 556 damage, but they were not able to confirm those knocks into kills.
But PUBG Minions and teams like Eliminate Crew are really shining in this last day, first game itself, and it seems that now they have decided that they will have some different sort of gun gameplay. 1547 damage for Eliminate Crew and 2317 damage for PUBG Minion. Certainly we haven't seen this sort of good gameplay in this pass itself, at least in this final itself. But when we get to see the overall ranking, it seems that it is something else to offer to us, and it was just 1 game away, where FURIX Nepoz have now certainly overtaken Paradox OCE.
What
an alarming situation.
Oh yes, oh yes. This is good. This is really good. You see, in the group stages, it was Paradox who were reigning in supreme. But now in the regional finals, where we do know the stakes are higher, where we do know that the team that will be at the top of that leaderboard by the end of the day will be getting a confirmed slot for PMPL Season 4, well, what better opportunity for them to, of course, showcase that sort of an aggressive stance. And it is also good for us, because we have a rivalry perhaps that can be created between these two teams, where, of course, FURIX Nepoz do find themselves on top, but it's only a matter of time, maybe, before Paradox chimes in, or perhaps X Factor could be 4 Godawari fighters also, bringing in a lot of points for themselves, getting some really good games. But yeah, that's easier said than done.
Yeah, and also Royal Official, I mean, the leap that they just made on the 3rd position, since goes 4 Godawari fighter finding themselves at the 4th position. I mean, all the 4 places are really in contention, and since it's just the 1 match we're talking about, this 4 team, think about next match, as it's going to be Miramar. Certain teams must be looking to make a comeback, and then the things and the picture might really can get ugly. As we got to see, we really didn't expect that it will just 1 match span where FURIX Nepoz will be enough for them to overtake Paradox OC, but this is the storyline after the end of first match.
Well, what a play, what a day. This is turning out to be the final day of PMCO Wildcard Region, where things are looking real good. The stakes are getting up to almost abysmal level, but with that first game taken care of, 3 more games remain. But before we jump into the second game of Miramar, it is time to go on a short little break. We'll be right back.
Here we go now.
Hello and welcome back once again to PUBG Mobile Club Open for the Wildcard region. Let's move on with the schedule to get us moving along. Of course, the first game has been taken care of on Erangel. Let's move on to the second game that will be on Miramar. But talking about the first game, it was Royal Officials that reigned in supreme, thanks to, of course, having all 4 players surviving in that final circle. But now, when we move on to Miramar, we shall have to see if Paradox OCE will be reigning in supreme to get that first position taken for themselves, or will it be FURY X Nepoz creating a lead for themselves, or for that matter, will it be a complete X factor that can be anticipated from another team altogether? Well, with that enough speculation, let's move on into the game and find out where the flight path is going to be leading us.
Indeed, this time Paradox OC must be looking to make a big dent and then make a comeback, because they must not be happy with the way the performance has actually outstanded from the sides of FURY X Nepoz, and they must be looking to just furiously shun them down, even if they are into this game of Miramar. But for the moment, the flight path, as we get to see from the downtown towards the side of El Pozo, towards the southern area of Lostness, completely southern dominated flight path. And the cities like La Cobreria, Torre Humada, Campo Militar, Tierra Bronca, El Hazar, Water Treatment, I mean, humongous amount of cities, the big cities are out of glide. Talk about Hacienda del Petron, talk about San Martin. It's still glidable, but I mean, talk about Junkyard and all those cities. I mean, Impala also. You can also see a lot of traffic that can build around and can be brought around the areas of Picado and maybe Chumacera or maybe Montenuevo. But as soon as the team will only be going down, we might get to see the players and team jumping around the same area. But for the moment, El Pozo might be the hotbed of contestation, as we can got to see 2 3-colored parachutes into the same vicinity as Fear of Death against the players of Face of Death, as we can get to see certain teams are just out of the vicinity. Even they are not visible, we can just get to see the last 4 letters of their name, and then we'll get to see what sort of drop location are they making. But certainly some teams are really struggling to get towards the place. But Paradox OC have made sure that they will be either going towards that power grid area and sort of a different region. But it seems that our officials are on a run. They look unstoppable, as now they are trying to take the fight, and this time it is going to be again SCL EnvyUS, and Feriwala has got a lot of hit on his body. Again, he is the one that might be just finished before even the fight starts.
What a play this is turning out to be once again for the side of Royal Officials. In the first 2 games, or in the first 2 minutes itself, it is the side of Royal Officials who are finding themselves in a decent fight against the players of SCL EnvyUS, and it is none other than Feriwala, the X Factor player from the side of SCL EnvyUS, who is going to be caught and will be given a lot of damage. But for now, a kill has not been confirmed, a knock has not been confirmed, but information between these 2 teams has certainly been shared, and in that, now it will be for Royal Officials to create that sort of a flank, as well as creating that information into a point, and in confirmed kill is what this team will be working towards. But we shall see if that will be allowed from the side of SCL EnvyUS or not, because this time around again SCL EnvyUS chime in with a 3-man squad, and that 3-man squad is at some point in time going to be pincering them down and hindering their performance, because the 4-man army of Royal Officials will have 1 more man advantage, of course, and that is going to be helpful in terms of creating that flank angle and absolutely covering down the exits for the side of SCL EnvyUS. And SCL EnvyUS, being none the wiser, are going to have to just maintain that compound that they are in. But for how long will they be able to do so? Because it looks like Royal Officials, they are going to be bringing that X factor for themselves. They are going to be reigning in supreme with the flank that has been created between them. The communication is absolutely on point, and SCL are still stuck in the same exact compound, which means it is going to get trickier and trickier as the minutes progress on along for the side of SCL EnvyUS to get away from the situation. But after all of that, after all the strategies being applied, it is this kill that will matter the most. Who will be the one that will be absolutely precise and pristine as soon as the information is shared? Who will be the one who will be able to reign in supreme on towards their opponent's heads is where the skill will be showcased, and that skill in the end will become the X factor that will decide who between these 2 teams will be reigning in supreme. For now, we do see these teams in a little bit of a stalemate situation, where we are just 4 minutes into the game. But both these teams, they have the information against each other, but that stalemate is going to continue on and not allow any of them to participate in the kills or, of course, the fight altogether itself.
SCL certainly not looking to take the fight. All they just need and want is the mercy that can be poured onto the side from the sides of Royal Official. But it seems that this is not going to be the case, as now Stratters, we can get to see the light colored green marker on the north left side of that map. He is the one that has creating that flank angle with Smoko and Sun holding that extreme angle. Strat is the one that can actually surprise the players from the sides, the three players, rather not the four, just the three players from the sides of SCL. And numbers advantage, that's how it actually works, because it's the three players that are holding the front against SCL, and then the one player Stratters going from different direction. And now it seems that SCL and VS, certain players are having the best of the best loose, as we can get to see the SLRs and Scarrel into action, as Faik 98 is not having the best of the best helmets and vests that can actually shield himself away from the incoming leads and the bullets. But certainly they are noting down the rotation, and since they are in the situation where they are not giving any sort of sound cues, neither any sort of coordinates of their positioning, it is going to be Royal Official that is on a constant move, and Faik is the one that is holding the front angle. It's just a matter of time where the one knock, if get that exploded, I mean the team might go for the charge. Smoko is still holding that same angle, and if Faik does one wrong mistake, his head will be certainly blown away.
Well, what a play this is turning out to be. A stalemate situation is what these teams find themselves in. But for how long? It was just the first 2-minute marker that we saw these teams engage in a little bit of a skirmish. But now this is a 6 minutes in almost, and they are still pretty much stuck in the same exact spot. The good thing for them is the fact that the zone is not going to be running away from them anytime soon. And in doing so, well, they can enjoy that stalemate position for as long as they possibly want. For now, it is going to be Smoko right here, who is just waiting, to get that little bit of a pixel from the side of Faik 98 to be able to just absolutely pincer him down. Boom. And it seems, there we go, that is the moment that this team was waiting for. And now Royal Officials will charge, as we can clearly see all the players just absolutely on the run, on a marathon, to get those perfect position that they have been able to create for themselves, where it is going to be a 4v2 situation. This team is going to be absolutely pincering down the opponent. That is going to be SCL EnvyUS with Shafi trying to get the information for himself. Will he be able to retaliate? It seems that he does have a nade. He's going to be cooking it, and most certainly going to be damaging the side of Sai from the side of Royal. But of course the kill will not be confirmed. It seemed like it would be confirmed from the side of Safi, but it has not been confirmed, and it is going to be Sai who will be able to move into the exact same compound on the other front. Ferrywala is the man who has created that X factor behind the building itself, and in doing so, it could be Royal Officials if they're not careful enough. Stratus right here who's making a push, but he has been given a little bit of damage from the nade, but of course he has not been knocked absolutely, and Ferrywala will be the one who will be brought down to almost a sliver of an HP. And in doing so, the two-man army from the side of Royal Official, as they made the push against Ferrywala, will be bringing him down. And just Shafi, the final player remaining from SCL EnvyUS, has not a lot that he can do, because Royal Officials, well, that team is reigning in supreme and looking real good doing it, because every single push that they've made has been so on point that kills certainly have been given to them and have not been taken from them, as all 4 players still survive.
Indeed, it is going to be the case, as now Royal Official, they will be looking to just seal this deal, as one player still alive. 2 kill is what, 2 defeat is rather what they have for the moment. With Shafi, the last player alive, this will be hunted for sure, as now 4 players recharging from 4 different directions. It's just a matter of time, and Shafi, even if you take 1 kill at least and 1 dent from the side so far of Official, it will be a win-win situation for him, because not an easy task to survive when the 4 footsteps are approaching towards you, and in that situation you already panic, and it already makes you to hold your nerve well. And Shafi is really doing well. I told you that it's going to be win-win situation. Even if he takes down 1 player, he takes down 1 player and has blown a big delt onto him, because Royal Official was the one team that was on a charge. Royal Official was the one team that got the last match chicken. Royal Official was the one team that's still standing on the #3 position. Rather, SCL EnvyUS, they don't have anything to lose.
Well, exactly. But they still were able to bring a little bit of a dent to the players of Royal Officials with that kill that was confirmed for them, the 1 point that was confirmed for them. So that is certainly going to be a decent outing for the side of SCL EnvyUS, because it was the play that was possible. That was the only possibility for that fight. In fact, getting that 1 kill also is going to be a GG play for the side of SCL EnvyUS. But Royal Officials, well, they have walked away with 3 points for themselves. On the other tangent, when you talk about the teams that do find themselves in the circle itself, we are looking at Paradox with a 2-man split, where 2 players are going to be sticking towards Hacienda del Patron, whereas the other two are going to be moving on across the Power Grid Mountains and are going to be trying to get the information for themselves as they find themselves pretty much in the center of the zone. So many teams still not in the comfort of the zone itself as they will be making those rotations, and in doing so, there will be so many teams from the side of the Legends, the PUBG Minions, that are going to be finding themselves in the close vicinity, and it is also going to be face of death in the exact same position as well, where PUBG Minion will get the better half of that point, and it is going to be the Legends who are now going to have to get themselves into the safety of the compound, where FOD, as they were making that rotation out in the open, have been caught, and it is the Legends as well as PUBG Minions who are getting the better half and getting the points for themselves.
Legends in a constant contention with face of death as now we move towards the map, but the storyline still remains the same as PUBG Minion were just wise enough to get that knock that came in from the sides of Legends, but certainly that kill was stolen from the sides of PUBG Minion, as we have seen a gazillion times in the past itself that there are a lot of kill steals that are certainly not in the game of Erangel, but when we shift towards this big map of Miramar and then there's the small map of Sanhok, that is certainly one case that we have gotten to see. But Legends must be really furious because they have just lost 1 point that could have been fetched by them, but sadly nothing to worry about. Fortunately, they are finding themselves in the position where they just need not to move an inch here or there, rather they just need to scout down the areas, and if any team tries to make a rotation, they can actually deal the same sort of blow that they dealt a minute before onto the players and onto the heads of face of death, as now PUBG Minion, after getting that 1 kill secured, for which actually the Legends deserved, now they are trying to pin down the players of Team Ronak, as now they are uncharged. All the 4 players are on a split, and it seems that Maga is the one that is leading the charge, and he is low on 50 HP. Seems his location is also revealed too.
Well, it seems that certainly is going to be the case when it comes down to PUBG Minion. They've been able to confirm that 1 kill against the players of FOD. AJ was the one that they were able to bring down, and that is that 1 point that they've been able to get for themselves 11 minutes into the game, and the fights are now finally erupting and starting. We're in the second phase, which will certainly be bringing us down to the third phase in a few more seconds. But of course, before that, the fights that are taking place on our screens right now is from the side of PUBG Minion, where this team is trying to get so much of information against their opponents, have been able to, of course, pincer down so many teams that were making that rotation as well. But will that be giving them the opportunity to get a kill confirmed? Not likely, because it is a long ways away that they have been able to spot their opponent. On the other front of the game altogether, it is going to be Rogue Nations who are going to be chiming in into the kill feed.
Indeed, I mean, Rogue Nations are constantly in contention. Last game itself, we saw 5 kills, 1 placement point itself, and they are not shying away from taking the fight. Now, this time it is going to be charged from their side, where all the full players are moving slowly and steadily onto the players of Illuminate Crew. And Illuminate Crew, the team that really reigned in supreme in the last game itself around the areas of Georgiapol, are certainly falling themselves in the trap of La Bendita, as the deathbed itself is created not in the area of Graveyard, rather it's the area of La Bendita, where they are falling down slowly and steadily, with the nade being cooked pointly and rightly onto the direction where the players from the sides of I8 are exactly positioned, and High is the one that is now in retaliatory fire, is not firing but using the utilities to perfection, but with no success whatsoever. 1v1 fight, will he go down? He will go down, rather it will be Admiral that will be taken care of, and all of a sudden it seems that Illuminate Crew's future in this match itself looks so bleak.
Absolutely does. Not the kind of play, of course, that was anticipated from that sort of a team, but Royal officials getting points for themselves. I mean, this team of Rogue has certainly, Rogue has been able to get 2 points confirmed for themselves, and a decent outing and a decent play that has been showcased from them. On the other front, it is going to be Paradox also bringing themselves in the kill feed, where they are taking on the players of Face of Death. As Face of Death, this is the second time the players of FOD have been caught in the rotation that they were trying to make, and look at that perfectly controlled spray coming in from the side of Hazer. Will certainly not be able to get that damage or that kill confirmed, but certainly the play that was made from the side of Face of Death has been caught, and it is none other than Paradox OCE who have been able to get the kills and of course the points, thus resulting in just 1 player surviving for the side of FOD. And on the other front, there are other teams that are going to be taking on the fights for themselves. This team of Face of Death, the final player of Face of Death, will find himself 350 meters away from the comfort of the zone itself, but as he tries to get into the zone, his position has certainly been given away, and it is going to be Paradox on, of course, the offensive to try and get that final kill from the side of FOD. But this team also are going to be so very close to the zone. They're just going to get themselves accumulated in that two-man split that they've been able to find themselves. It is going to be the team of now Fury X Nepoz absolutely pushing completely towards this warehouse of Fear 10, and Fear 10 are going to try but will not be able to pinch it down because all four players completely in domination from the side of Fury X Nepoz are going to be absolutely pinching down the opponents, and Fear 10, final player, well, he is going to be on the run where Frego, number one, yeah. No, don't even think about it because Fury X Nepoz, well, that team is looking so very ferocious. That team has been absolutely perfect in terms of the play style that they've been able to create, and of course they find themselves on the top of the leaderboard, thus giving them that much more of a boost. And therefore we can clearly see that all four players are so very kill hungry, and in doing so, Fear 10's final player given away his information. Yes, he was able to bring that one knock, but that kill will not be confirmed as he will be burnt alive. What a play, Fraggle. What a play. Like you thought you would be able to bring a 1v4. But again, he tried. So, alright.
I mean, yeah, he really tried. He really tried to perfection. He really tried to make that. I mean, the same sort of approach that was shown from the sides of last player, from the sides of SCL, to bring at least one knock, one confirmation. True. And that was certainly been the case. But this circle, and since it is favoring Paradox, and since they have not been the part of this earlier fight, it seems that this is going to be the one game that they will be getting sure shot for themselves. But they only need to take care of from the backhand sides, where one player from the sides of FOD, that is going to be Sikka, coming in slowly and steadily and controlling all those ridges from the sides of Paradox, Hazer and G1. They must be pretty much happy, but it seems that Raw Official are under contention and they must be looking to get all those strongholds happens. If that happens, it is going to be Paradox versus Raw Officials, because both the markers, one being maroon, one being green, are in complete closure, as now we are getting to see the fight that we were speculating, the fight we were expecting to happen. It is going to be Quid that is trying to steal that kill, not rather steal, they're trying to get the kill in fashion with the help of Car 98, and he's not just wasting all those 5.56 bullets because still had that M416 in hand, but style is what Quid stands at this moment.
What an amazing turn of events for the side of Paradox OCE. This team had that two-man split. The zone certainly favored them. And now as they find themselves pretty much towards the northwestern front of the zone, are going to be trying to reign in supreme through these perfectly set up ridges that are part of that area. They have so much of information. We're left with still 14 teams surviving at the 17-minute marker. We are in the fourth zone, and when it comes to the fights are taking place where now we are faced with, of course, the side of Fury X Nepoz against the players of 4 Godawari fighters. Zeems Gaming is going to try, but it seems like his teammate knows that there is absolutely no point. Might as well just get some smokes and get ourselves away and out of the situation, because when it comes to this edge of the zone, we can see in the mini-map, there are so many teams. So most certainly, 4 Godawari fighters are on towards the right tangent, and they are most certainly going to be trying to get themselves away from all of these sort of situations. But before they do so, they are completely going to be obliterating Illuminate Crew's player.
A complete pandemonium is what I expect from the sides of 4 Godawari fighters, as with one kill is their standing, but they are certainly looking to rack up more and more, as now more teams are approaching towards them sides. And Raw Official, you better be careful, because if you try to come in this direction, earlier it was Paradox that really pinned you down, and this time it's going to be multiple teams in this vicinity that can really take you by surprise. But for the moment, Fury X Nepoz needs all these kills, and guess what? Imagine 4 kills is what they are standing, because we just saw them eliminating a complete squad of Fear 10 rather, and now they are looking up to take up the fight from the eastern side, as now the players are coming in slowly and steady. Quit with one more knock onto the players of Ixcel, and he looks unstoppable at this moment, but all of a sudden the tides are changing, the game is changing for the Rogue Nation and Fury X Nepoz, as now Ego brings one more knock, and this was really important thing, as now Admiral from the smoke is really making a big blow onto the face of them, and a grenade takes down the player from the sides of Ego, and it's just a matter of time where the last player Tricks can also be taken down, as now they are being sandwiched. Right hand side it is going to be Rogue Nation, left hand side it is going to be 4 Godawari fighters, with 2 players still arriving, standing still strong. He needs to get the revival done, but it's the right point to make a big blow onto the face of Fury X Nepoz. 4 Godawari fighters just go in.
Well, what a play this has turned out to be. The zone is what has caught up to Fury X Nepoz as well. There is just a few meters that they need to go to get into, or rather away from the blue zone itself, but Fury X Nepoz have been caught, and once they've been caught, this is not looking good for them, and in doing so, the entirety of the team that was looking ferocious and dominating has been brought down to their knees on the 12th position with 5 kills. Fury X Nepoz goes down, and it is going to be the side of Godawari fighters who will push on along, and now they will not only push on along but try and take on a fight against the players of Rogue Nation. In doing so, it is the side of course, well, what can I say? For Godawari fighters, they were looking really good. I was just about to say that they've got the hill advantage as well, but they have been pincered down and now have been absolutely eliminated thanks to Admiral's approach. The one man who had just been on the receiving end. I mean, every single way you think about that fight, it should have been for Godawari fighters. But the way Admiral just stood his ground and absolutely pincered down the players of Godawari fighters, that was a GG play from that player. And Admiral from Rogue Nation will certainly be keeping himself alive as he pushes on to get more points for himself. 10 teams remaining, 20 minutes into the game. Unbelievable stuff coming in from the sides of Rogue Nation as they now try to make a move as Play Zone is certainly taking the charges. Now Zeus gets eliminated, but Para is just not stopping. Queet takes one more knock onto the players, and it seems that they are up for the grab for that important 15 placement points. And before that happens, it is going to be a lot of kills that they need to rack up, but it is going to be Rogue Nation, one player still surviving, and Admiral, he is the courageous one. He has the bravery in his favor, and he is making it all happen. As with 4 kills, he is making a move, but this is going to be a long pursuit for him. It is going to be just some meter, 50 to 60 meters, but in that vicinity, it is going to be a lot of teams that are still alive. On the right hand side is going to be Royal Official Sun that is still surviving, but Rogue Nations, being Rogue Nation, Admired is the one that is just trying to dominate all these places. But in all these situations, it is going to be just the 8 teams alive, and we are just down to 20 minutes. We talked about the happenings of Miramar's game yesterday. It seemed that this is also one Miramar that, on a contrary, apart from that custom that it say that it has to be slow, it is the really fast one. But on a charge, it was all officials. The players are going down slowly and steadily as now Ixcel, Ruzy Boy, has brought one more knock. But this circle shift will eventually tell that whether Paraquid has to be in their safeguard, has to be in their comfort zone, or rather they need to make a move. But it seems that Royal Nations Admiral is still making a move. He's still making a move. He's still making a move. He is the courageous one. He is the fearless one, and he is the one that is still making a charge out in the open, and there is no one to stop him until unless he's spotted on Paradox. Well, he certainly is being courageous, but at the cost of what? Well, at the cost of nothing from the looks of it, because he has been able to make that rotation. He has been able to get himself into the zone itself, even though Admiral is the final player surviving from the side of Rogue Nation. He has been able to get himself so very close to the players of Paradox OCE that Paradox are not going to be happy with. They are certainly going to be trying to charge onto that player. On the other front, Paradox are completely going to be bringing down the player of Ixcel. In doing so, it is now another fight that they want to be able to charge on upon, and that is going to be none other than Admiral, because it seems like Admiral has knocked onto the doors of Paradox OCE so very close that he will not be allowed to stay alive for long, and Paradox will get that one kill. That kill from the side of Rogue Nation also confirmed for themselves. So now we have FOD with one-man squad. We also do have Royal Officials with a one-man squad, but Paradox OCE with 9 kills, all 4 players surviving, is looking likely to dominate.
And also the Legends, I mean, talk about all the 4 players alive. This is 3 kills, but still a good chance for them. But if Paradox looks just unstoppable, there won't be anyone. Talk about any other team. Paradox on a single day, if all the 4 players are going in the last zone, and certainly these sort of good rotations that they are trying to be a part of, it seems that it is going to be important for them. But as soon as I said, it seems that I have spoken too soon, as now it seems that Paradox, one player has been knocked down, and the way they are trying to make a push, it is not going to be any stars. And so are from the sides of Legends, as now Darksyde is just trying to make a big blow onto the face, as now Team Ronak is making it difficult for DS Darksyde trouble to make a move. Play Zone is also taking a lot of damage, as now G1 takes care of the last player surviving from the sides of Royal Official, as now Sai goes down. But Team Ronak holding this compound, just the 2 kills, they really have a good chance until and unless the circle just shifts away, which by the looks of it seems it will.
It most certainly has, and it is going to be favoring again Paradox, where they do find themselves at the edge of the zone. On the other front, when it comes down to the other teams, the other 3 teams, where we've got Team Ronak, we of course do have the Legends as well as Darksyde. These teams are in the compounds, but they're going to have to make that rotation pretty quickly, and that is what these teams are trying to work towards. But the position of Team Ronak is certainly going to be favoring them. The position of Team Ronak can certainly give them a lot of points, because all the other teams, they're going to have to make that rotation through Team Ronak, and as soon as they get out of these compounds, Team Ronak will get the information and they will be pinching down those leads into the bodies of these opponents, and in these moments it is going to be the side of Team Ronak that could very well get the X factor, and that is exactly what was being showcased in the kill feed as well, where Easy was very easily able to bring down one player from the side of the Legends, and it is going to be the Odin, his teammate, who will be able to give that revival to Wukumpa. But will that be enough? It is not going to be an easy task for Darksyde as well, because yes, they have 3 players surviving, but they also find themselves in the exact same position. But before they do so, it seems like this is going to be that one spot that Ghost could have made his own with that mini tap, but G1 just barely surviving and getting away from that position.
Not in a good position, certainly, because it's going to be Darksyde that need to make a move 64 meters. And since the buggies are being really flattened, the tires are being really flattened, there is one objective from the sides of Darksyde is to paralyze the movement from the sides of Paradox, because the way, the quickness, they are already and has always on their toes. Whenever the circle goes for a shift, they are the ones that really get close, and they are the zone magnets. For the moment, for the last 2-3 shifts, they have been certainly getting the favor of it. But as soon as the circle made a shift, it seemed that everyone is in commotion and everyone is looking unsettled, as now Darksyde, since they have to make a move and since they cannot go from right hand side, they have to either take the fight or go down, and they are choosing to take the fight against the Legends. And the Legends are going down, as now players are going down slowly and steady. One player is still alive from sides of the Legends, and we have to still wait to see what sort of influence he can bring, as now Paradox are also being charged from the backhand side, as now Team Ronak is also going up against them. But in doing so, it is going to be Legends that have been completely eliminated. The onslaught continues from that southern side, where Darksyde Ghost is reigning supreme with that M249, but Team Ronak is the one that is completely holding different angle. It is going to be all 4 players alive, holding this broken open cemetery. Is one good game is what they needed, but Paradox, they really need to make sure, because in last game itself it was a comeback sort of from the sides of Royal Official. In this game itself, total of 10 points is what Royal Official has taken away, and a lot of kill is what Paradox has actually secured. But in order to trespass them, overtake them, they at least need to get those important 15 points in terms of the chickens.
Well, they most certainly do, and that is what this team is going to be working towards, with Queet confirming 5 kills for himself, getting a lot of information against the players of Team Ronak, and now it is going to be Queet with that nade on towards the players of Ronak, where the side of Team Ronak, the only cover that they have is of course this compound, but that compound will only last a few more minutes, because Paradox is ready to make a push. They are ready and prepared to completely pinch it down the position of Team Ronak, but Team Ronak are going to be very difficult to be brought down, because they've got 4-man of course working in their favor. The advantage is going to be the 4-man army, and of course with that, so many smokes being deployed is absolutely going to be stopping Paradox in their tracks before they jump into the arena. This team of Paradox OCE, they love to have the information, and if they do not have the information, they would love to wait. They have absolutely no problem in waiting, and that is exactly what this team is showcasing right now. Just absolute patience game being showcased from both the sides, and it is Ronak who is again and again getting so much of information in terms of the placement of the players of course Paradox OCE, that it is him and his teammates now giving in that information is going to be able to absolutely pinch it down. But before they do so, Paradox, Hazer will be the one who will be brought on, but as soon as Hazer is brought down, it is going to be Ronak who will try and bring in that X Factor, but will not be allowed to do so because Queet is still in the area.
Queet taking a charge, making a move on to AK Holic. The revival is going to be the case, as now G1 makes a move, as Queet is the one that is holding this stronghold area, and a brave move I would rather say, because they knew that if we go down from number here itself, it is going to be a tough task for us at least to make a move, as now the charge is their team. Ronak realizing the sense of the situation, they are doing the gravity. It is going to be Queet still surviving, the only player along with Hazer, as now G1 is finding himself with the smoke cloud. It's just the one smoke cloud that is separating Team Ronak away from the chicken. As Hazer goes down, it is going to be an important task for Paradox to get those chicken. And what a game. They were short of numbers advantage. They were not in a good position. Everything was going into the favor of Team Ronak, but they make sure they knew how to turn the table, how to turn the tide, and that's why Paradox OC is known for the best gameplays. 30 total points is what they were able to secure, and now they have got their acclamation back, they have got their spot back, and they are at the first position.
Well, they have been able to get themselves on that first position. Fury X Nepoz will be brought down, but for how long? but for how long and what sort of a point lead has this team been able to create for themselves? An amazing turn of events right here where we did see Paradox's players, even though they were a 3-man army in that fight against the 4-man squad of Team Ronak, they knew the numbers advantage makes a huge difference, and that is what we saw Paradox try again and again as soon as their players were brought down. Tweet was the one man who was, of course, on top of his feet, but the others, G1 as well as the teammate, were being knocked. But one main thing that Paradox worked towards were to get that revival, and that is something that Team Ronak did not. Team Ronak was brought down to just that one-man squad. That was Alcoholic. All his teammates were brought down. All his three mates were waiting for that revival, but the revival never came. And on the other front, when it came down to Paradox, the revival was always their priority, and that certainly resulted in Paradox getting the better half of this fight. Had Team Ronak worked towards those revivals, it probably could have been a different affair altogether. But again, I mean, you can only separate the fight that much. You can only start to break down these sort of moments that much, because after all, it's the result that matters, and the result is favoring Paradox OCE as they find themselves on the top of the leaderboard once again. With that, we will move on to the MVP, where I do believe this time around it should be Queet. I mean, Queet was the X-man. He was the factor who played such a big role in the play of Paradox that, of course, he is going to get 6 kills confirmed for himself, 2 assists, along with 939 damage. Amazing play from the side of Paradox OCE, especially Queet.
He was the one that held the nerves. He was the one that finished the players off in style. He was the one that really blowed that knock with the help of those Car 98 shots. He was the one, still the one, that still looks unfetchable, unconquerable, as now he moves down towards that same spot. I just don't understand why and there was some sort of roster change in this final itself, and now since Queet is back, he is getting his position back. He is getting what he has been known for. 6 kills, 939 damage, 2 assists, 162 healing done. What a game for Paradox, what a game for Queet itself. And not only him, it was also Hazer, it was also G1 that was really making it not easy for the lobby itself. And then we got to see Hazer and G1 again in that top 5 list. So if this sort of performance is emulated and maneuvered from your team, you're bound to get those chickens.
Absolutely. With that, we also do have Team Ronak's player Easy right there with 801 damage. Only 2 kills, but 801 damage is going to certainly be helping him to be a part of the top players list, along with, of course, Rogue Nation's Admiral, the dude who was able to absolutely pinch it down and stop 4 Godawari fighters in their track as they've made a push against Rogue Nation's Admiral. And not only that, I mean, Rogue Nation's Admiral also then made a blind push into the zone against the players of Paradox and was able to find himself into the vicinity before he was charred down.
Indeed. I mean, it was really a tough situation in that to survive. And moving along, we have the match summary where we get to see a lot of players. Talk about all the players. I mean, we have Queet, we have Hazer, we have G1. Everyone just chiming in with the most utilities used, with the highest damage, with the longest kill. And then we got to see Zeus from the sides of Rogue Nation. I still remember the fight between them and 4 Godawari fighters, and Zeus was the one that was really looking to not go down, whatever be the case. He was the one that was standing till the last moment, and then it was an all easy affair for them along with Admiral to go down. But sadly, it was a play zone that really took care of him.
Absolutely. And as the journey continues on, the team of Paradox OCE are going to be reigning in supreme with the 15 kill, 15 placement points, 30 points in total is what this team walked away with. And the team that was on the second was Team Ronak with 16 points. So a massive difference right there between the first position holder and the second, where the second got away with 16 points, and then comes in Darksyde with 13 points. So an amazing play being showcased from the side of Darksyde as well, as they did work on towards getting themselves in the top 4 position, in the top 3 itself, and the top 4 teams in the final circle as well. So a GG play is what was showcased from Darksyde. But as we move on to the second page of the overall ranking, Fear 10 was not allowed to stand their ground. Entity Nepal certainly not allowed to do the same, and same of course is the case for the side of Illuminate Crew, SCL EnvyUS and PUBG Minions, as they did walk away with single point, but that is all that they were allowed.
Indeed. I mean, a really tough chance and a tough charge for all the teammates in this situation. But PUBG Minion again, they were looking to go all strong. SCL EnvyUS again faltering down. I mean, this season, this complete all these 14 matches, SCL EnvyUS, somewhere down the line, they do try. That's not going to be the case, because what shows from the damage histogram itself, 329 damage, 1 kill is what shows that they do try, but somewhere down the line, they do falter down. And then we got to see Fear 10, 355 damage. They were in contention with a lot of teams that were trying to come in from the eastern side, and then they were pulled down. But a big massive boost for Paradox OC, 2,405 damage, along with 15 kills, and just the 4 kills and 1883 damage. I don't just remember last time when did I see some sort of high damage and low kill contrast.
That's a big leap. Big leap coming in from the side of Team Ronak indeed, where 1883 is the damage that they were participated in with 4 kills. Wow, yes, that is the first. That is most certainly going to be a first. But as we push on along towards the other teams, the teams that were not able to participate in the kills themselves were participating in the fights. As we saw in the damage histogram, they were certainly bringing in a little bit of damage against their opponents. And as we move on along, it is going to be Paradox OCE who have reached the 200 marker, or rather crossed the 200 marker in the total points, and it is the kills department that once again just separates them with 108 kills for Paradox OCE. 206 points is what this team sits at, and FURIX Nepoz on the second position with 187.
19 point difference. What sort of performance FURIX Nepoz? I don't know. How are they gonna be doing it? I don't know. What sort of strategies they need to brought out, I don't know, but they need to be making sure that these are the last 2 opportunities for them. That is going to be Sanhok, that is going to be Erangel, and they need to make sure that they have to be on the top spot. And talking about the top spot, it seems that Legend Esports are also on a roll, and it's just a matter of matches because they are already high on the kill numbers. It's the highest. We talk about kill number on the second half of the chart from 9 to 16. It's the Legend Esports that is certainly leading the charge, not in terms of placement points because they are shading with what Eliminate Crew is standing, but the kill number is certainly high in terms of them. And also PUBG Minion, I mean, today's game itself, they are looking completely different. PUBG Minion Esports, but it seems that it is too late. But it's never too late. I mean, you try, and you then succeed.
Absolutely, and that is something that was showcased from Darksyde in the previous game as well, as they are still part of the fight and are taking on some real decent positions for themselves on the other front. When it comes down to the plays that are remaining, we've only got 2 more games. With that, it is time for us to go on that short little break. We'll be right back with the match on Sanhok.
Here we go now.
Alright, welcome back once again to PUBG Mobile Club Open for the Wildcard Region 2021 Fall Split. We've got 2 games done on the final day of this wonderful tournament, where indeed it is Paradox OCE reigning in supreme, but we shall have to see if Fury X Nepoz are going to be able to bring in that sort of a play that they were able to make to get themselves on the top in the previous game on Erangel. It is time to jump into the third game of Sanhok.
Itself, I mean, last day itself, we got to see a good gameplay coming in, but it seems that we are right off the go, as now the flight path is also making a move, and so we will be, as the flight path has already took from the western side of this map and going toward the northeastern side. Flight path is making a move, and the best part is that everyone is just playing. Even in SCL EnvyUS is also playing. They are finding themselves in the closer vicinity. It seems that the contention still rises, still is there, as Ruins is the area where SCL EnvyUS have parachuted, but this time it's they have separated a bit because they already knew that there were some fight. I mean, right, we got to see those I8 fights and those Eliminate Crew fights between SCL and EnvyUS in this region fight itself in the day 2, if I'm not wrong, in the game of Sanhok in the same area, and this time they have distanced apart, as now the players are making a move slowly and steadily, and it seems that Paradise Resort can be the hotbed of contestation, as now Fear X Nepoz are getting a challenge against Fear 10, a team that really went down not by Fear X Nepoz, but rather it was 4 Godawari fighters, and also Fear X Nepoz were also there in the same vicinity, so that might be some sort of redemption and revenge that they can take care of. But if they're taking care of, they need to make sure that they are going up against one big team that is up in contestation for the hashtag 1 and 2, and this shouldn't have been those the way to actually push. You are out in an open situation, it's still a Paradise Sword. There are a lot of angle to take the TPP's advantage from, and in that it is an early 1 elimination from the sides of Fear 10, and certainly they are down on numbers, and one team that is high on confidence, that is going to be Fear X Nepoz.
Absolutely, they need these. They need this because they need those points for themselves. They need to topple over Paradox OCE. That is the only goal that Fury X Nepoz have. If they're not able to maintain that wonderful point position for themselves, then it might just be too late to leave it all down to that final game itself, because Paradox OCE have already been able to wonderfully get themselves a lead for their own, and Fury X Nepoz, understanding that, are going to be perfectly placing themselves to bring in some kills, and they are doing so perfectly, where in doing that they have brought down 3 players from the side of Fear 10. 2 have been confirmed kill, so 2 points have been given to the side of Fury X Nepoz. One nade that we just saw from the side of course, Triggs was so on point, but that nade has now resulted in, well, a revival, and that revival has been given from the side of that player of Fear 10, and in doing so, now the 2-man squad of Fear 10 are going to have to be real careful, because the side of Fury X Nepoz, they are looking so very good and strong, and are going to be trying to get those kills confirmed for themselves before they make a rotation outside the Paradox resort itself. On the other front, it is going to be Paradox's Queet chiming in along against the players of course, ZeroDeath, because ZeroDeath decided that they're going to be going exactly to the same drop location that Paradox goes to, and that is on towards the northern side of the map, towards Cow.
Exactly, I mean, the fight is still on, and the misery is just not ending for Fragger number 1, as the worst part for this fight would be, and it still is, that Fragger number 1 doesn't even have one first aid and not even bandage that he can actually heal himself up with. But Paradox is going down, as now Quit needs to make sure that he is not finished, but Potai makes sure that he will be taken care of, as now G1 also falls down. And this is one fight that can really will pull a big dent, as now on a different tangent. It was Fury X Nepoz that was just getting all those successes in terms of not only the kill points and also the players who are alive, but certainly Paradox needs to win the fight. They need to pull down all these players, and in doing so, it's going to be Hazer that has done 1v2 situation, tried to take one more player down. But from the backhand side, it's going to be Tango that came in, and he tanked the team pretty well, and an early elimination even before the clock went into the complete 4 minute of its way. It is going to be a sad demise, a sad elimination for Paradox OCE, and this invites Fury X Nepoz to come again right there at the top.
Absolutely. If if they're able to get the game working for themselves, because this team is also going to be finding themselves 16, 19 points away from that first position. So that's going to be a huge undertaking that this team of FURY X Nepoz is going to have to bring for themselves. And in the start they are doing so. They are looking absolutely in control. On the other front, there are fights taken on where it is going to be face of death against the players of 4 Godawari fighters, where 4 Godawari fighters, 2 players have already been knocked and sent back, so only a 2-man squad left for the side of 4 Godawari fighters, where face of death are looking like they are the ones in contestation and in control. But Sabine right here with that perfectly set up nade is going to be trying to eliminate Lupusov from the entirety of the lobby. On the other front, it is going to be FURY X Nepoz finding themselves into that fight against Fear 10, and the kill will most certainly be confirmed.
Indeed, I mean, the kill is already there, and it's important to get all these things done as Fear 10 gets just eliminated, and we got to see an early elimination for 2 teams, and in that it was a sad demise for Paradox. But for the moment, it is going to be face of death. 2 just players are surviving from the sides of face of death, and also 2 from the sides of 4 Godawari fighters. But in that, it is no deterring from the side, as now they are really high in confidence. The nade is being cooked. Mercy realized the situation. If this lands straight in the lap of Sabine, it seems that Rock will be getting away from this damage, and that nade just bounced shot of Sabine GG, where he's actually positioned. In order to get Sabine GG knocked off, the trajectory has to be better one in order to just pass away from that rock. Rather, all the 2 grenades have landed before the rock even has that to cover for itself, as now face of death is on a move. 2 kills is what they have been standing at this moment, and this is going to be a 2v2 affair, where now AJ is mollying to a different direction. He is hurling them the mollies, but it seems that Sabine GG's location is still unrevealed. But Zeem's Gaming is still there, and he can really turn the match all of a sudden.
He most certainly can. We've seen him do that again and again for the side of 4 Godawari fighters, but when it comes to the numbers advantage, that is not going to be favoring any of the teams, because it is a 2v2 affair between those 2. On the other front, it is SCL EnvyUS on the receiving end once again against the players of Illuminate Crew, and I8 right here are going to be the ones trying to reign in supreme, but SCL EnvyUS's teammates are going to be there to give him that revival and give him that cover, and that is exactly what that team is working towards. But not before Illuminate Crew can respond, because that nade that was showcased against them is exactly what this team is also going to be bringing to their opponents, and SCL EnvyUS are now going to have to be really careful with that revival being confirmed. It is going to be a perfect spray from the side of Faik, and he has been able to bring down Illuminate Crew's player. So High is the man who's going to have to bring in that X factor, and that flank angle that he's at, he's going to have to utilize it to perfection to be able to confirm this for himself. But SCL EnvyUS will not allow that, will certainly not allow that. The 2-man squad, Faik as well as his teammate Feriwala, are going to be eliminating Illuminate True on the 14th spot. This is a crazy game on Sanhok, when just the 7-minute marker, we've been part of so many fights, so many kills have been showcased. Again, this is not the end, because these teams know what is on the line, what is at stake, and for that they are going to be bringing the stakes higher, and of course going to be bringing the domination to the face of their opponent teams. In doing so, we are enjoying these fights. I certainly hope you guys are too, because these teams are just not looking like they're going to be stopping anytime soon.
They are not stopping. I mean, we are heading towards, and we are already headed towards, I mean, we are in the battleground of this Sanhok, and this is the fastest what we have seen in this wildcard region itself. All the guns are just blazing. Talk about the big teams that are going down, it was Paradox. Talk about the big teams that are rising from the ashes, it was a chance, it's still a chance, as now FURY X Nepoz are making a move onto the front hand side, as now they have taken care of all the teams, and in that it was then SCL EnvyUS that really got eliminated. So sad demise for them, but 3 teams just in the 8-minute of markup has left the lobby, and now it seems that Team ZeroDeath is just not stopping. They are hunting down the players, they are trying to hunt down the players, they are looking up to hunt down the players, and it is going to be this time Darksyde on the receiving, and as soon as they find themselves in the closer vicinity, it is just going to be a time where Team ZeroDeath will be just exploding with all guns blazing out. But they need to make sure that it is going to be certain different teams in the same proximity, and if they are aggressing with those sort of aggression, that it has to be done. And as soon as I spoke, it is going to be FURY X Nepoz that are now taking care of Darksyde everywhere. We are getting to see ruckus everywhere.
FURY X Nepoz just does not want to stop. They just do not want to stop. They've got an objective, and that objective is to be able to topple over Paradox OCE. They do know the point that they need to be able to accumulate, and that has become an objective for this team, a target for this team that they are going to be trying to just completely, no matter what way, compete over and of course complete in this game, and that is what this team is absolutely using in their favor. They've got 5 kills already confirmed for themselves. That is certainly going to be the 5 points confirmed for themselves, and as the journey pushes on along, they've still not reached the 10-minute marker, but the teams have been brought down to number 13. So an interesting play being showcased in this lobby, where the teams are certainly going to be taking on quite a lot of fight. We are in the second phase eventually, of course, and when it comes down to seconds, it is 20 seconds remaining before we move on towards the third phase itself, and this is going to be an onslaught that we can anticipate from the side of FURIX Nepoz, because they do know where exactly the players of Darksyde are, and that is exactly the play that FURIX Nepoz are making, and Darksyde, none the wiser, are just getting brought down to their knees one by one and being sent back as well.
The prima facie, it seems that FURIX Nepoz knows that it is going to be Paradox OC that has left the lobby, and that clearly invites them to get more and more of point. It was 16 to 19 point difference between them and Paradox OC that was still on the top, and that has certainly been reduced to 13 if it was 19, the difference being because 6 kill is what FURIX Nepoz is standing at this moment, and if they get more and more points, at least the 15 points, those important chicken, will be helping them to solve that problem. If that happens, it will be surely back and forth, because right off the go, we didn't expect Roll officials to make a move. It was Erangel where they got the chicken, and it was #2 for FURIX Nepoz, and then it was them toppling over Paradox. Last game itself, Paradox toppled FURIX Nepoz, so the contention is on, the fight is on, and in that, it was this time Paradox OC that did fall down. As I mentioned, it is going to be an invitation for not only FURIX Nepoz, also for teams like Roll officials to actually to outshine each and every one in this lobby, but first being Paradox OC. But moving on along, we have the fight that is still alive, and Darksyde, it seems that their misery is also not ending, as they are again and again being caught in the open without taking any sort of rotation, and this is the worst way to go down. You don't take any sort of fight, you just show your back, or you just try to loiter around here and there, and there's some enemy in the vicinity just preying you and just caught you off guard, and this is the worst way to go down.
Absolutely, that does happen, especially on Sanhok. Especially on Sanhok, where you do know that the map is small. Whenever you are going to be making that rotation, there will be another team that will most certainly have an eye out towards you or your final destination, and that is what has resulted in the team of course, NEPAL bringing in quite a lot of plays for themselves. But what an amazing reaction coming in from ZeroDeath. The spray was brought from the side of NEPAL. Out in the open is what that team was. But ZeroDeath retaliation was so on point and so very consistent in terms of the way that they were able to showcase that NEPAL's player has been brought down to his knees. But a kill certainly has not yet been confirmed. So an interesting play being showcased right here at the edge of this zone. When it comes down to NEPAL, they are trying to gatekeep the situation, simply put. But the side of ZeroDeath, well, they have their eyes on towards the compound that NEPAL find themselves in, and in doing so, it is going to be Team ZeroDeath, who for now are trying to reign in supreme, but it's only a matter of time before the NEPAL's player will be given that revival.
Indeed, I mean, the player needs the revival, but will the player from the side of Team ZeroDeath would allow? By the looks of it, it seemed that the revival would certainly going to be the case, but Royal Official on the charge, as we got to see, they are also in contention, but they need to make sure that there's going to be one snake that is hiding and just praying to take down the players. But as soon as it is going to be going, Zeno is the one that will be spotting him off, and not only him, it is going to be Smith that will also go down. Just a matter of seconds where Falls, the last player standing alive, will he able to take him down? One falls down, but from the backhand side, Sun will comes up, and Sun will also make sure that this team still alive. The revival will be done. 4 easy kills what they are standing at this moment.
Absolutely, 13 teams to get eliminated. With that, we've got 12 teams remaining right here on the 13-minute marker, and Royal officials have been able to accumulate 4 kills for themselves with a lot of fights that they've been a part of. On the other front, it is going to be the kill feed telling us that Face of Death are in a fight against the players of SCL EnvyUS, and SCL EnvyUS is the team that is going to be on the receiving front. On back to the fight that we were part of, it is going to be Darksyde trying to push on towards the positioning of ZeroDeath, and ZeroDeath, they are going to be trying to absolutely pencil down the rotation that is being showcased from the side of Darksyde, where it is going to be Prevail who has been brought down to his knees. His teammate is on the run. He is going to be trying to give him that revival, but looks like Captain O'Blood is is not going to be allowing that. He wants those points and he wants them now. 44 kills is what this team has been able to accumulate. That's going to be from the side of ZeroDeath, and now convert that into 5. Captain of Blood, the final player remaining against the final player of Darksyde. That's going to be Klaus. So 1v1 situation that Klaus, without getting even a little bit of damage, has been able to eliminate the final player. And look at that aggression. He did not like the fact that he made such a big rotation to help out his teammate, but in the final moment, ZeroDeath did walk away with that kill.
Furious, he's just furious, too anxious, because it was Captain Blood that from the sides of Team Zero that really put a big dent onto the face of him. And Klaus, I mean, he being the Darksyde's player, he was the one that really made it tough for the players. And he, in the 1v1 situation, it was UMP that really bought the weight, that really bought the valor for themselves. And now it is going to be himself trying to make a move into the zone. But talk about this zone shift. Again and again, Fury X Nepoz didn't need to make a move and inch towards either left or right, but certainly they are getting the favor of the Paradise Resort. But from the southern side, it is going to be certain teams. Talk about FOD, talk about SCL, talk about Royal officials. They are making a move. But in all this situation, it is again going to be Team Ronak's gameplay, those passive gameplay with standing with all the 4 players that's slowly and steadily making a move, and also the Legends. So certain teams have taken all the fights. We can get to see the unhighlighted teams in this left and right corners of our TV screens, where Paradox have left the lobby, where PUBG Minion, Fear 10, Illuminate Crew, ZDs, a lot of teams have left the lobby, and certain teams are just surviving on one player. Talk about SCL EnvyUS, it's just a Feriwala, it's just the Mercy from the sides of FOD. So this is going to be a tough task. And not only that, it was also a Klaus, still Klaus, surviving from the sides of Darksyde, but it is going tough challenge for them, as now he is finding himself in the closer proximity where NTT Nepal's players were there. But a complete hard shift going towards the western side, gonna be favoring certainly for Godawari fighters.
Absolutely. For now, this is going to be an interesting play being showcased from the side of the zone itself, but we shall have to see if Godawari fighters will be able to make that rotation. For now, there is going to be no team in the vicinity or in that rotation path, but Darksyde's final player Klaus is brought down, as well as NTT Nepal confirmed that kill for themselves. And in Nepal, with that 1 kill confirmed, 1 point for this team. 113 meters is what this team has to cover to get into the zone itself. For now, 10 teams remaining, 16 minutes into this game. 4th zone finally on us, and this is where mostly we've seen these teams from the side of Wildcard region participate in fights. But today, when it comes to the final Sanhok game that these teams are going to be playing against each other, they have been absolutely perfect, I would say, in terms of the aggression that they have showcased against their opponents, and in doing so have been able to accumulate a lot of kills for them. But Fury X Nepoz is the team that we are going to be keeping an eye out for, because that team is going to be in an opportunity to take on Paradox from this game if they are able to get the points for themselves. They have been a part of a lot of fights, and of course we'll come back to that, because right now on our screen is going to be NTT Nepal giving away the information to the players of the Legends.
They have certainly, I mean, they should have brought the knock, but it seems that since they have given the location away and the coordinates are well known, it is going to be the sides of Legends that giving them punishment at the right point, at the right time. And they certainly deserved it. Without taking sort of fight, you really don't need to give all those location away, and that has certainly till now has been favoring the sides of Legends, and that has resulted all of a sudden just the 2 players surviving and alive from the sides of NTT Nepal. All of a sudden, till now NTT Nepal was looking good with all sort of passive gameplay, but somewhere down the line you have to be aggressive. Nate has been hurled down on the sides of Mogambo, and it was just too overextended because it went towards the backhand sides of that hut, thus resulting himself still safe. Mogambo is the one that is in the hut, and it seems that now the players from sides of NTT Nepal are trying to pin down the players. With them going in, it is going to be tough charge, as Odin is up against the players of 1v1. His name is 1v1, but falters down in doing that 1v1 situation, thus leaving only 1 player alive from the sides of NTT Nepal, and he is the one in the light grey marker is on a charge. Mogambo, for how long? He will be surviving not long, as Fury X Nepoz gets the better half of him. 1 more kill, 1 more knock, 1 more confirmation, 1 more point, important point for Fury X Nepoz, as they are just looking furious at this moment.
They most certainly are in the kill feed. They not only took down the final player for NTT Nepal, but also brought the fight against the players of Team Ronak as well, where it seems like the kill was stolen from the side of Ixcel indeed, but it is going to be Fury X Nepoz also chiming along to take on those kills for themselves, and Fury X Nepoz are looking like reigning supreme. Tricks right there with 3 kills confirmed domination from his side, and all 4 players still surviving. Ixcel right here on our screens is going to be trying to get themselves away from that blue zone that is going to be hunkering them down, and alongside all of this, as they get themselves towards the comfort of the zone. Now they're going to be waiting. Now they're going to be patiently waiting to see if at all Team Ronak make that rotation from that exact same area or not. On the other front, it is going to be Assassin, who is taking shots again, perhaps from the side of none other than FuryX Nepoz.
What a zone. Completely favoring FuryX Nepoz. All they just need to do is to get towards all these fights and let all the teams making a ruckus and turmoil situation. And if that happens, FuryX Nepoz is going to be the one contender that will be really eyeing upon. If that happens, again, we might get to see the back and forth action at the #1, #2, where the players might be and the teams might be toppling, and it is going to be really bleak for Team Ronak. AK Holik, 2 first aid. I mean, Zone is still letting him breathe in the blues itself, but for how long? That is going to be the question. As soon as the 5th circle made a shift, it is going to be a tough challenge for him, as now Rogue Nation goes down. Admiral is the one that is on the receiving end, as Rod Official is also trying to bloom in the same area, because it's also a challenge. It's also an opportunity for them to contest for the second, as now we got to see the circle has made a shift, and Rogue Nation all of a sudden looking pretty strong at this moment. Some smokes and Molotovs along with the utilities are being used in perfection just in order to make a move, but is it going to be enough for them? They have made some smoke, really thick smoke cloud in order to make a move, but Zeus angle can really be the X factor. And also for the C47, that means Rogue Nation is a complete spread. If one mistake is done from the sides of Rogue Nation, also from the sides of Role Officials, there are other teams to take care of.
Absolutely. And from the south, now it is going to be 4 Godawari fighters trying to chime in to get those kills for themselves. FOD also reigning in supreme, but as Rogue tried to bring in those kills for himself, was not allowed to do so, as Royal Officials will get the better half of that fight. And it is going to be Royal Officials still maintaining that position with the Thompson right here. It is going to be Smoko bringing in that onslaught against the players of Rogue, and Rogue not looking too good, because the 3 players from the side of Royal Officials are reigning in supreme with 6 kills confirmed for this team. This is a perfect play for the side of Royal Officials. With that, we've got 5 teams remaining. Rogue Nation getting eliminated on the 6th spot.
Stratus goes down, Official on a charge. Sun is really making it important and hopeful. There is an optimistic one to get all the revival done. But FuryX Nepoz have certainly done one good thing. They haven't been part of all these fights. One player, Trix, just went down by the blues and the play zone, and all the 3 players have come alive. And since they are still getting the favor of the circle, they are the one that are really having a lot of info about all these circles. There are no other team with 4 men standing. That means that still they cannot be outnumbered on the numbers advantage. And this is one good game. This is one opportunity that they need to sense, and they need to cash in before other teams try to do it. And talking about other teams, it is going to be Royal Officials that are really trying hard to make a move.
Absolutely, they most certainly are trying their level best. They've got 8 kills confirmed for now, and in doing so have been able to absolutely maintain that trigger discipline for themselves. But 4 Godawari fighters chiming in along with that one final player, bringing in a little bit of a knock and punishment towards the players of Royal Officials. But of course, he will also be pincered down from the zone itself, from the blue zone itself. With that, we've got 3 teams remaining. It is going to be FuryX Nepoz, who are also at the receiving front of this entire thing, which is going to result in them being left with a 2-man squad. Of course, the revival is what that team needs. But on the other front, when it comes down to the players of the Legends, this team is not looking good, because the Legends, they have the compound, yes, but they have, of course, given away a lot of their information. And as soon as the zone constricts, that is when the Legends are going to have to let go of that safety net of the compound, and that is when things are going to get really tricky, along with which it is going to be FuryX Nepoz bringing in the damage towards the players of the Legends. For now, we're left with 3 teams remaining, and in all of that, Royal Officials Stratus is the one-man army who is playing it to perfection, being so very quiet, keeping an edge, keeping it away from the side of FuryX Nepoz. It is going to be FuryX Nepoz against the players of the Legends, and the X Factor being Royal Officials.
They are making sure they are completely committing onto the last press standing from the sides of Royal Official. But now it seems that they are trying to take 2 fights in 2 different directions. And this has brought down Aldar, goes down. And all of a sudden, FuryX Nepoz future looks bleak, as now one more player goes down, and Stratus all of a sudden is turning the tide. And not only the tide, he's getting those important kills. 9 kill is what the whole team stands for the moment, and it's just going to be time where Triggs will be finished. Play zone takes care of him, and all of a sudden Royal Official on a move.
Wow. The X Factor that I was talking about, it was in hindsight, but again, this hindsight has worked in this dude's favor, because Stratus the way he was able to completely pinch it down all three players of FURIX Nepoz. An amazing play being showcased from him. But now it is that one man against the three-man squad of the Legends. And of course, the Legends will be able to topple him over, will get the chicken dinner for themselves. But again, a kudos play to Royal Officials' final player Stardust, because he played it such a wonderful place and was able to absolutely pinch it down FURIX Nepoz. But the Legends certainly walking away with that chicken dinner. An amazing strat for them. But I have to give my respects to this dude, because Stardust, I mean, the way he was able to absolutely stop FURIX Nepoz, he was able to read the zone itself and absolutely use the blue zone as well as the rotation of the shift of the circle itself in his favor. Perfect strategy being applied from that dude, and again, he's become the legend for me for this moment. With that, let's move on to the MVP of this game.
Indeed, Amin, and that is certainly going to be the Stratus from the side of Royal Official. 4 kills, 950 damage, and certainly the survivability has worked in his favor.
Most certainly. High IQ dude. High IQ, mate. Or maybe it was his teammates who were just telling him that do this and do that. So maybe I'm giving my respects to a false figure, but nevertheless, that is what this dude has showcased, and that is going to be working in his team's favor, because with that, MVP is going to be Stratus. But as we move on towards the top players list, we do have FURIX Nepoz bringing their players along as well, with Triggs as well as Enduric right here with 4 and 3 kills respectively for both of these dudes, and then followed in are going to be the Legends players Mr. Tampe and Wukampa with 3 and 3 kills respectively for both of them as well.
A good game indeed for both the teams. The team that were in contention for #2, #3, both the spot is still in contention, as we got to see Royal Official was there at the 3rd spot. We'd like to see what sort of changes are being made, and that will be when we get to see the overall ranking. For the moment, it's a match summary, and we need to talk about Triggs' performance, because 4 kills is what he was able to secure, along with Aldar, 2 maximum assists. I mean, both the players, talk about Triggs, Aldar, also Ninjuric, everyone is just looking too hot to handle for the rest of the lobby, and also Royal Stratus. I mean, he has been the one that really leads the charge. He has been the one that really does the 1v2, 1v3 situation. He has been the one that really acts as a savior, but certainly this time it was just not enough for him, as he just threw away every sort of gas that was left in the tank to get that important chicken, but it was just not enough. But before going down, he made sure, along with the team, to get those important 10 kills, and a total of 22 points is what they were able to secure.
Absolutely. With that, out of officials as well as the Legends walk away with 22 points, but FURIX Nepoz 21 points. So that means this team is going to be finding themselves on the top of the leaderboard with only 1 or 2 points away. Is going to be the second team, that is going to be Paradox OCE. So now, when it comes down to that final game that is remaining for the day, it is the final game that will decide which team will be on top of the leaderboard. There's still no confirmation, and if both FURIX Nepoz as well as Paradox OCEs get eliminated in the initial few moments of the final game of Erangel itself, then we might have a complete different team that might reign in Supreme, even though that is going to be unlikely, because the teams have found that the first 2 teams have found themselves with that 200 marker difference. But move on towards the match ranking coming in from this game. Apart from the speculation, we do also have SCL EnvyUS with 4 kills this time around that they were able to participate in. 5 points is what that team walked away with.
Five important points that the team was able to walk away. But Darksyde certainly, before leaving and getting this competition completely over, 4 points is what they were able to secure, and for certain point of time, they really made pay the side of team ZeroDeath. The amount of gunpowder that they showed. I mean, the last player itself, the Ghost, was the one that really took care of the rest of the lobby, but then it was an all-easy affair for PUBG Minion and Fiat to go down. But just the 1 point was what Paradox OCE did secure, and then we might get to see some sort of topple over. Certainly they will be topple over, but the thing and the important point still remains: what is the point difference between Paradox OCE and FURIX Nepoz? That will be still there. But before that, we have the damage histogram in front of us, where FURIX Nepoz completely dominated the lobby. 2063 damage with 11 kills in a game of Sanhok. This is an unstoppable team. This is a team that is rising from the ashes. This is a team that looks completely all berserk when they go all guns blazing.
They certainly do, always do. I mean, this is a consistent team. During the group stages also, we saw FURIX Nepoz bringing in some consistent plays, and this time around when it comes to the finals itself, that is exactly the play that they are showcasing, and in doing so, they are in contestation against the likes of Paradox OCE, and in all of it, there is going to be a rivalry that will be walking away from both of these teams from this tournament itself of Wildcard from PMCO, because well, they are so very close to each other. The gameplay is certainly going to be favoring one or the other in every single game that we've been a part of. Either it's Paradox OCE or the next time it's going to be Fury X Nepoz. This time it was Fury X Nepoz. With that, the final game will be the decider, because just that 1 point difference. I was talking about 2-3 points. No, it is just that 1 point difference between Fury X Nepoz and Paradox OCE. Now, if we were to just try and think about RF officials play, well, they're going to need a lot of points. 35 no, it's impossible. That's certainly going to be impossible for RF officials or for Godawari fighters. So it is a fight between Fury X Nepoz or Paradox OCE, which is going to be brought down to this final game of Erangel, and we shall, well, again,
Let's make it just between Fury X Nepoz and Paradox OCE for the contention, for the one slot.
True.
And obviously for the prize pool. Whom do you think? Whom do you think?
I do want to say Paradox OCE is going to be bringing back.
Yeah.
The previous game did not go in their favor. So
they are
this time
working in
around,
alternate. I mean,
yeah,
1, then 3 and 5, or maybe 2, 4. That's going to be the case.
Maybe. But one more thing to bring up is going to be Face of Death. Now, to bring in the X factor, I want to say Face of Death should get the chicken dinner in the final game. Finally, they should be given the opportunity to get the chicken dinner in the final game, because that is a team that has found themselves on that first page around the 6th and the 8th position for such a long time. Without a chicken dinner, that means consistency is working in FOD's favor. But of course, a chicken dinner has not been given to that team now, as of course is the case when it comes down to that first position holder. They will be given a slot to PMPL Season 4. So all of this will certainly be brought down to which team will it be? Will it be Fury X Nepoz or will it be Paradox OCE? Those of you who are watching, of course, do not forget to vote into the chat itself. And with that, we're going to go on a short little break. We'll be right back.
Here we go now.
Hello and welcome once again to the final day of course, PMCO 2021 Fall Split, where it is the wildcard region. We are looking at the final game that will be played now. That is going to be on Erangel. And again, when it comes down to who will be on top, well, time is going to answer that. We do have Paradox in contestation. We also do have Fury X Nepoz going to be trying their level best to topple over Paradox OCE, but it's not going to be easy. The first game on Erangel that we saw, Paradox did today bring in a completely different start. They had a different rotation, they had a different drop altogether. Maybe this time around on Erangel, they go back to that known spot. They maybe go back to, right? Or maybe they bring in another X Factor altogether. It is an interesting play that can be anticipated from this team. But with that, enough guessing. Let's jump into the game and we shall have all our queries answered.
All eyes on Paradox OCE, and they are also in our POV as Viz, Hazer, G1 along with Quid. That certainly means this, the last game itself of the regional finals that will be sealing the fate of one team. Who is it gonna be? Time and only will answer, as now we are getting to see Paradox OCE, and I'm sure that the team will go towards the area of Lipovka, because last time they tried, they faltered down miserably. Talk about, I mean, their performance the last game itself. It was not an easy task for them. From area of Lipovka, they tried to make a rotation straight into the area of Georgiapol because the circle was making some sort of notorious shift itself. Indeed, it was Roll Official was the one that got the chicken and Fury X Nepoz got the second, and then we got to see those contention. But all eyes are still up for them because Lipovka is still not unglidable. They have to be in the airborne situation for a long time. But as soon as a Erangel went toward the area of Lipovka, yes, Lipovka is the way. This is the area where Paradox OCE will be jumping towards the same area, and now Severny is where all officials are there. Yasna Apollana, the safe haven of the Legends that has been throughout this tournament. Team Ronak towards the western side and towards the western side of Ruins and Hospital itself, with the northern Georgiapol getting completely utilized by Rogue Nations. It is going to be an easy task for them, but the circle this time has certainly showed some different thing, making a sudden shift, making a rotation from the northern side for especially Royal Official from the area of Severny is going to be a daunting task. But where are Fury X Nepoz? The contestation is on. ZeroDeath are giving them a challenge.
Well, noise is the word that I'm going to say for the zone. That's a very noise zone, because indeed when it comes down to the play that has been created from the circle itself, it is going to be the X Factor that was waiting from the to be brought on into the final game, and that is the circle itself. But talk about the play that has been created from the side of Paradox itself. They do find themselves in close proximity to another team, and when it comes to those sort of moments, it is going to be a tricky affair that we can anticipate this team to be a part of. On the other front, the kills have already started taking place. Fury X Nepoz bringing in domination against the players of ZeroDeath. On the other front, SCL EnvyUS, another team that has been playing with a 3-man army for so many of the games throughout the PMCO, have not really had the kind of play that they were anticipating, but they've tried their level best and they have not accepted defeat, which is a good thing. But talk about the kill department, is just going absolutely berserk, because the kills are coming in all across the board in just the first 3 minutes. Ixcel is absolutely dominating Fear 10. On the other front, when it comes down to Fear 10, finally they are going to be trying to eliminate the competition. But SCL EnvyUS on the screen is also going to be bringing in that exact same onslaught against the players of Entity NEPAL. What a crazy play this is. I mean, yes, this is the final game. Yes, this is all-out guns blazing approach that is being showcased from the teams in the wildcard region. But this is absolutely crazy berserk, because it's just a 3-minute marker, but they have just absolutely gone abysmal in terms of the kill department, in terms of the play style. There is no planning. There is just no planning. This has turned into a TDM.
It's an impromptu. It's an impromptu decision with which the teams are going all girls blazing, and I would agree with you. I mean, this the TDM, the way they are just trying to take the fight 4v4 situation. Whoever gets those important guns, those important things in the very early half of the game is going to be the one that will be reigning supreme. Here we have in Prison, where SCL is going up against the teams of Entity Nepal. Certainly Entity Nepal has been thrashed. SCL EnvyUS was on the verge of getting eliminated as 1v1, tried to bring the knock, and they are moving in this small vicinity. They are taking those buggy, I mean, all sort of consideration, all things sort of things. You just got to expect, but grenade comes in onto the face of Faik. He goes down. SCL EnvyUS going down slowly and steadily. Feriwala, the only man still surviving. It is in the hand of S12K, but he's handling for this moment, but the two players are coming in. Can this one more grenade make a one big dent onto the player? Seems that no is going to be the case. As now S12K is on a move, S12K is on a charge, Feriwala is on a charge. For how long? He takes one more knock onto the players, 1v1 goes down, gets assistance from the backhand side, the players are making it happen. Vector comes into play, takes one more knock down as Feriwala. He's looking unstoppable at this moment, has all of a sudden brought two more knock, and NTT Nepal, the team that really had that, got one important chance in these situations, but all of a sudden, FuriX Nepoz Ninjurik has also gone down. All sort of siege is what we are getting to expect and see from the game of Erangel right off the go. The last match itself for the regional finals, this is going all haywire.
This most certainly is, and this is the kind of play that was anticipated from these teams, and that is exactly what they are doing. They do know that this is going to be the final game. They have nothing to lose, and that is the reason why they are just going guns blazing, where we do have ZeroDeath, but I on our screens, who's going to be trying his level best to take on the players of FuriX Nepoz, but FuriX Nepoz, they are going to be reigning in supreme to take the fight onto the face of ZeroDeath and eliminate him. 15th position is where the team is going to get eliminated when it comes down to FuriX Nepoz. They've lost one of the players. Two of the players have been knocked, but Alder right here will be able to give the revival. So an interesting play being showcased. But in all of this, the team that we were talking about, Paradox OCE, that was in so close proximity to another team, have not yet taken a fight. I wonder what went wrong over there on the other front when it comes to these teams. These teams on our screens have been showcasing some amazing plays, and in the first 5 minutes of the game itself, we have had some crazy opportunities that have been converted into a lot of kills, and two teams already eliminated.
Indeed. I mean, just the 5 minutes and 60 seconds. I mean, that makes a total of 6 minutes. Two teams out of the lobby. 3 kills for SCL EnvyUS, 4 for Ixcel, 4 for FuriX Nepoz. Now for FuriX Nepoz are 5 point and 5 point ahead. The lead has certainly increased, but that has resulted in Ninjurik going down from the sides of FuriX Nepoz, and a good chance for Paradox to make a move. But apart from that, there is a complete piece. If we talk about the area of Northern Jajapur, it's just the one team. Rogue Nation, all 4 players alive. Now they're trying to make a move, but talking about the move, it seems that now Darksyde are now trying to pin down the players of FuriX Nepoz. They are under consideration. They are in contention. Siege is there. Along with that, we need truce. All fall a sudden. I mean, FuriX Nepoz need the truce, need the settlement going on, but Darksyde need it well, knows it well, that it's FuriX Nepoz that really jump around the areas of 6 houses, and now it seems that they are up on a charge. Certainly, they are not going for the push, but the way they have position and the way they are trying to hover around the crosshair, around the players of FuriX Nepoz, everyone is just looking to take any sort of player, any sort of team, whatever be the case, we are not going to give you any sort of respect.
Absolutely. That is the way, that is the case that will be showcased from these teams, and in doing so, they are going to be trying to bring themselves and pincer their opponent down, and it is going to be Darksyde against, of course, the likes of FOD. We shall see if this perfectly set up nade parade that is being showcased from the side of Darksyde will be allowed or not, but it seems like there is going to be another team that will bring in that saga against the players of Darksyde, and FOD will be bringing the kills for themselves, where Darksyde are trying to reign in supreme, but FOD have had the better half of this fight for the moment, at least, as they have been just pincered down to just one player who has been knocked. All the others are still surviving as they punish the position that Darksyde found themselves in, and in all of it, it is going to be FuriX Nepoz also taken in a lot of onslaught, and Darksyde will be eliminated. With that, now Face of Death have to face FuriX Nepoz, as they are going to be pushing on against the exact same place that FOD find themselves in.
Indeed, I mean, FOD really on a charge. 2 kills is what they were able to secure, and not only that, leading Darksyde demises was the one objective, and now they have to have the right set upon FuriX Nepoz. And if for FuriX Nepoz, if we talk from their proximity, from their POV, better you be prepared, or else it is going to be one big team that is coming in slowly and steadily. And now we are heading towards one more fight. We jump from one fight and we find ourselves in another fight. This time, Legend against SCL EnvyUS. One player has been down. Shafi is on a charge, was on a charge. Correction from my side, as the Legend range in Supremes with getting a lot of points for themselves, and 3 is what they are standing, and as soon as they find themselves, it is going to be Paradox G1 escaping the death for one time again.
Well, what a play this is. This is just 9 minutes in. We are down to 12 teams remaining.
Wow.
Paradox taking on the players of the Legends, and the Legends certainly going to be trying to pincer down the players of Paradox as well. As Hazer goes down, the eliminations are going to get started off, and when it comes to the zone itself, the zone is going to to be restricting so many of these teams to get into, of course, the military base or towards basically the bridge of this area. And of course, when it comes down to Paradox, Hazo has been revived for now, and now they will be certainly pushing on against the position of the Legends, as the points are right in front of them, and Paradox are most certainly going to be trying to get that working for themselves. We talk about the zone from the eastern front. We can see that 4 Godawari fighters have found themselves at the edge of that Novorupnoy bridge and are going to be maintaining that position and maybe even creating that bridge camp position for themselves. On the other front, talking about Paradox OCE, they're going to be making that rotation to get into the zone from the northern side, as we can see on the mini-map that it is going to be the northern front of the zone that this team of Paradox will be finding themselves in the comfort of the zone. That is exactly where the Legends are also placed. So when it comes down to the Legends, maybe the Legends will try and absolutely follow the positioning of Paradox OCE, but we shall have to see if that will be allowed or not. On the other front altogether of the map, 1300 meters away from the zone, we are faced with Rogue Nation against the players of Royal Officials, where Rogue Nation Admiral, the dude who was able to absolutely pincer down the players of Godawari in the previous game, is now going to have to try and take on the players of Royal Officials.
Sprout this time has really changed in sort of roster with which Rogue Nation is playing, and certainly this is working for the case, but it seems that it's too late for them, but not for this fight itself, as now they're trying to pin down the players. Royal Official is going down slowly and steadily. One player has been removed from this lobby at least, because for a moment it seemed like that Royal Official could have brought the other player down, but the laser guided spray has brought one more player down. Sai goes down, and it seems that Sun has also been taken away from that moving US. Smoko is the one player surviving, and the plus is still on the backhand side. That means Rogue Nation is not going to get the kill confirmed, as now Zeus is making a move, and this reminds us of something else that we have seen in the past itself, as now Rogue Nation is making a move, just not paralyzing the movement of Royal Officials. Just a matter of time where we can get to see Smoko getting eliminated, and he's using the glider. He's using the glider. Observers, please get us through on that glider. Please get us through on that glider. Please get us through on that glider. We want that scenic scene to get in this game of Erangel itself. I'd love to see if that happens or not, but certainly, I mean, those are the punching actions. We're getting to see tricks going down, and Furyx Nepoz is the one that is facing the brunt of this situation. But please, for God's sake, if the glider is on, if the player is airborne, I want that glider to get the scenic view.
Well, we shall maybe be entertained to that possibility, but right now it is going to be FOD, Face of Death, on our screens as they try to get themselves acclimated in this area. They do know there are teams around them, and it is going to be none other than, of course, the player on our screens, Mercy, trying to take on this fight, but Team Ronak on the other front of this lake is going to absolutely not allow the side of FOD to take that kill, because it is going to be Team Ronak that are waiting to confirm that kill for themselves. An interesting play. It's basically a fishing competition as to who will be allowed to fish and who will not. It is going to be, of course, FOD against the players of Ronak, and in the middle is going to be Furyx Nepoz's Ego, who is just waiting as to who will be the one that will win him.
Only the one player surviving. Sliver of an HP. Future looks bleak. Too bleak for him to survive in this situation. But also this question still remains broader. How is going to be Paradox making a move? And since Paradox didn't have any sort of kill, it is going to be the 5-6 point with which the team is being separated. Just imagine, while Paradox are making a rotation, they just get stuck in this open, and there are still the team remaining on the northern front of the map, on the main island, that can really take care of him. Because Paradox are still not done with the rotation. It seems that they must be trying to take a water route. If that happens, it seems that nobody is in the proximity. But as soon as that happens, it is going to be the Legends with all the 4 different waterways areas and the oceanic regions are certainly favoring them. And as soon as they reach towards the southern island, it will be already one team that will be positioned before they even make a move on to that front. So a lot of possibilities, a lot of things. We are still not done. Furyx Nepoz, one player still alive on that sliver of an HP. Ego is still there. He still has the courage. He still has the caliber to make a move. And in that doing so, he will be the one that's still arriving, still surviving. Ego is the one still surviving, but fear of death, it seems that they are looking pretty much fearless, because wherever they are going, they are creating a lot of ruckus. 5 kills is what they are making in this last game of Erangel itself in the regional finals, and they have everything to throw in this left of this match.
Well, FOD certainly trying their level best to bring in the points for themselves. They have been able to accumulate 5 kills already, and they are still reigning in supreme with all 4 players still surviving, and a lot of information that is working for the side of FOD. But Ixcel, they have their crosshairs set right here. We can clearly see MVP with that Scarl and 4X is going to be able to try and pincer down FOD's positioning, but will he be able to confirm that into a kill? We will come back to that, because right now FOD is the team that is reigning in supreme, bringing in a lot of kills. But of course, when it comes down to the area that they find themselves in, well, they are at the edge of the zone. They're still 230 meters away from the zone, and they need to be making that rotation. And will they be allowed to do so? Well, it's going to be a tricky affair, because there are so many teams in the vicinity that are going to try and stop them and bring them down, and that is exactly what the team of Team Ronak is going to be trying to do as well. As soon as the team make a rotation, Team Ronak is repaired and equipped to absolutely pincer them down. On the other front, when it comes down to FURY Nepoz as the final player, seems like he's still going to be able to survive, and Ego is slowly but surely going to be swimming his way across into the zone.
Indeed, I mean, he's the one that's still having that eye set upon. He's the one that has the responsibility for FURY Nepoz and for his team. Ego is the one, if he takes on his ego, I mean, he's the one that can survive till the last. We have seen this guy surviving till a very last end. If he tries to repeat the same sort of performance, and by the looks of it, the danger is averted, because there is no other player from any other team in the same vicinity as now Team Ronak. While they were trying to make a move in the rotation, not only he will be taken care of, but he will be run over, as now La Ling is making sure he's taking the revenge. All of a sudden, the way we started off the match, right off the bat, we saw a lot of ruckus, and it's just not stopping. 15 minutes and the fight is still on, onto this blues, onto this military base areas, and onto this breaches. The fight is still on.
It most certainly is on, and it is going to be FOD and of course Team Ronak who are trying to get one up against each other, and it is Team Ronak who is trying to gatekeep the situation against the players of FOD before FOD is allowed to make that rotation. In all of this, in this mini-map, we can clearly see that there was the player. Well, he will not be allowed to enter the zone. It is going to be Ego going down to the knees and of course falling back towards the zone, and of course the blue zone get the better half of him from the looks of it, as FURY Nepoz will be eliminated on the 10th spot. With that, 9 teams remaining. Paradox have still not participated in any of the kills. Team Ronak on this bridge right here, trying to gatekeep the situation against the players, are going to be certainly in an advantageous position, but Team Ronak also need to be careful, because as soon as they get themselves to the other edge of the bridge, it is going to be PUBG minions waiting for them.
It's an all-out war. It's an all-out war. Indeed, it is going to be not only Team Ronak that will be facing a big dent, but as you just mentioned, PUBG Minion, watch your back. Team Ronak, you need to watch your back. If not, you will be taken care of. As now, instantly, when they try to move towards the end of this bridge, it is going to be an easy task for PUBG Minion. But before that happens, it seems that now the team has spotted down that yes, there are certain teams that are located, that have positioned themselves well in order to make more and more kill. But what we are witnessing towards, it is going to be total of 7 total points is what FURY Nepoz, if I'm not wrong with my maths, is what they were able to secure from this match. And since they were up against Paradox with one big lead, one grenade has done complete turn of event situation, with Punk going down, Odin going down. It is certainly looking bleak for the sides of Paradox to make a move in the situations, with the players falling down slowly and steadily. This is not looking good for the Legend, but certainly looking good for Paradox. Although 4 players alive, G1 needs the revival. He will be getting the revival for sure, but on a different tangent. It is going to be Eliminate Crew that is also falling down slowly and steadily, but the fight is still on. The contention is still on, as now Paradox is looking up to rack more and more number of kills and points. 1 is what they have got from this match itself. It's 7 or 8 with which they need to actually topple and counter, because FURY Nepoz have left the lobby with a total of 7 points from this match. Before this match started, it was 1 point lead. That means 7 plus 1 makes a total of 8, and in that doing so, they have reduced that 8 number to 1. And that is going to be 7. They are also looking to take the fight. If they try to eliminate all these 2 players that are standing in front of them, it is going to be an easy task for them. But on different tangent, it is going to be the Legends that have started retaliating, as now 2 players have been knocked down from the sides of Paradox, and this certainly has to be the game changer for Paradox OCE.
Well, it certainly is turning out to be quite a game changer for the side of Paradox. They do know what is on the stake, what is on the line, but it is going to be the Legends bringing in the X Factor. Mr. Tampe right there, better be careful, because Hazer from the side of Paradox has been moving on towards the flank angle, and in doing so, it is going to be Mr. Tampe who is going to be absolutely careful and is most certainly going to be retaliating against that position that Hazer finds himself in. On the other front, when it comes down to, of course, the positioning that Mr. Tampe is bringing to the table, well, the smoke is all that is certainly going to be favoring him, but that is pretty much it. When it comes to Mr. Tampe's position, it is going to be a tricky affair for him, because he's trying to break on the player of Hazer, but G1 G1 is also right there, creating an even more flanker angle against the players of the Legend. And Mr. Tampe and Odin are playing such an interesting game against the players of Paradox OCE. That Paradox OCE are certainly pincered down, and as they do so, they find themselves 160 meters away from the zone as well. If only there were another team that could bring in that sort of a third-party situation in this entire onslaught that has been taken over between the 3v2 situation between these two teams, it could have been a completely amazing turn of events. But nevertheless, I mean, as of now, of course, Paradox OCE are still part of this fight. So is the players of the Legends, as the smoke is the only thing that is stopping either of the sides to bring in a perfect knock and kill for themselves. For now, that certainly is going to be weighted, but it seems Mr. Tampe has overextended just a little bit. But the information that he was able to gain, G1 has not been able to bring in the knock.
Come what may, it is going to be Paradox that need to win the fight in all things doing so. It is going to be Odin that is striking at this bad angle, and G1 goes down all of a sudden. The resistance that we're talking about from the side of Mr. Tampe and also from the sides of Odin, this is looking absolutely phenomenal at this moment. It's not going to be 180 meter that the team need to travel. They are running out in the open, but in doing so, it is going to be players from the sides of Paradox Wiz that will be taken care of, and it's going to be last player alive. Odin, you're still alive. One player is still there from the sides of the Legend, as now Paradox are on a move. They have lost one player, but most importantly, they are 120 meters away from the zone, and in doing so, it is going to be a tough chance for them, a tough luck situation for them, as they don't have even enough of buggy, enough of vehicle to make a movement on a different tangent. We talk about the fight that is still on. It is going to be 4 Godawari fighters that are also getting a lot of resistance from the sides of Illuminate crew, but to be honest, brother, I was not expecting that amount of huge resistance that the Legend gave towards the side of Paradox OCE, and thus resulting Paradox OCE losing a huge amount of time in that fight.
Well, that is the play that is anticipated from the opponents, and that is exactly what the Legends did. They played it legendarily, and of course have stopped Paradox in bringing in those kills for themselves. But the game is not yet done. We still have 6 teams remaining. This is going to be the zone where 21 minutes in, 6 teams are remaining, where it is going to be, of course, on our screens, Illuminate True against the players of 4 Godawari fighters. And talking about 4 Godawari fighters, they're trying their level best to be able to confirm kills for themselves, but it is not looking too easy because they are a 3-man squad against this Illuminate True's players. They have finally gotten the 2 kills confirmed for themselves, 2-point confirmed for themselves, and 4 Godawari fighters now are going to have to go on to get their teammate revived, and that's going to be none other than Zeems Gaming on the other front. It is going to be Paradox now chiming in from the edge of the zone, from the northern edge of the zone against the players of PUBG Minions.
It is not going to be an easy task for Paradox, so trust me, it is not going to be an easy task. If Paradox need to make a move into the zone, they have to pull up some really Herculean effort. They are trying to use every sort of smoke, every sort of crates that are available in order to create some sort of flank angle, and they have to make a push. As soon as the zone shifts away, yes it does, the zone shifts away and completely goes into the favor of Paradox. I mean, Rogue Nation and also PUBG Minion, all the 3 players have to make a move, and this pursuit will be finalizing themselves. That will they be going to the PMPL Season 4 or not? That is going to be big cakes, and also that important prize pool that the teams are just waiting for. But in also doing so, it is going to be False that is finding himself into the closer vicinity of where Paradox players are on a move. Hazer along with Fizz, along with G1, they are on a charge, but it seems that they are stuck in this limbo. They are just not able to figure out from where do we need to make a move. They are stuck in this dilemma because it's all 4 players alive from the sides of the PUBG Minion that are just trying to make a move onto them. Smoke is there, and Falls just trying to preempt that grenade. He is the one that is trying to make this happen. This knock eventually will seal the fate, and there we go. G1 comes up with that important knock. What a reflex showing in from the side of Paradox, but Fizz goes down. That means it is going to be a day end for them. It is going to be so or not. We have to still wait for that, as PUBG Minion is really making a big dent, a big blow. Players are going down. Things are going down. Is it going to be hope shattering for them? All of a sudden, Paradox OCE has been thrown away with just the 3 kills. All of a sudden, it all comes down to what sort of point table is the difference that Furex, Nepoz and Paradox OCE has created between them. But all credits needs to go towards the side of PUBG Minion, because in all these crunch moment, it was them. Even if that one knock came in, they held their grounds well. And that made an exit and a demise for Paradox OCE.
What a play. What a play this has turned out to be. 4 teams remaining. We've got Odin still remaining from the side of the Legends. We've got 4 Godawari fighters trying to get in, but they will be caught, and it will be Rogue Nation who will get the better half of that fight. And in that, it is going to be one final player. That's going to be Zeens Gaming, who is going to have to take care of his teammates. And in doing so, Rogue Nation are absolutely set and prepped, and they will not be allowing the team of Godawari to move away from that rotation. And of course, it is also PUBG Minions who are chiming in along to take and steal those kills away from the side of Rogue Nation. And in doing so, they have certainly been able to accumulate 8 kills for themselves. So an amazing play being showcased from the side of PUBG Minions, as they have the compound along with the zone working in the team's favor. Amazing play, but will it be enough? For now, it certainly looks to be the case, because they've got all 4 players alive as well. And when it comes down to the final player for Godawari fighters, it's going to be none other than Zeens Gaming, whose position has been caught. But will he be able to move away from that exact position? It does not look likely to be the case, because of course he will be completely pinched down and stopped in his tracks. PUBG Minion looking really ferocious in this playstyle. 3 teams still remaining. In fact, it's just 2, because we've got just 1 player from the side of the Legends. That's going to be Odin, who's mainly going to be focusing on creating a small, slow, low-key approach. But in doing so, it seems the zone is going to be favoring him, and he will be the one who will try and participate and take on the kill against the players of Rogue Nation.
They are certainly trying. In all these matches, it is PUBG Minion that have really made it tough for the whole of the lobby. Talk about the Legends, talk about Paradox OCE. Has the dream been shattered? Has the dream been shattered? That is going to be the question of the hour, as now they are trying to take a fight against the Legends. 1 player is still surviving from the side of Legend, and there's going to be Odin. And Odin, trust me, Blotter, it was a game changer from him side, because it was Paradox versus the Legends. And in that situation, had there been not more time wasted, things could have been really turned futuristic for the sides of Paradox OC, but that was certainly not the case. It was a lot of important time, that crux moment where you need to position yourself in these sort of notorious shifts well, and that was lost, and that resulted in PUBG Minion giving an reputation that they had there for the moment. But it seems that now PUBG Minion are also on the back foot. They are also receiving a lot of shots. At Rogue Nation, Sprout with 3 kills, Zeus was just the one, now trying to take the fight with some really flank angles that are being created from the sides of Smith. It seems that he is going to be the one that always leads the charge. Now the grenades are being hurled into a small little cloud, and a 1v1 fight is where we're heading towards. And now it seems that Smith is going straight right on his head, and he should have realized that it was already Zeus that was positioning his coordinate behind this small little exclusive drop. And now the grenades comes in, will be making a big detrimental damage onto the Zeus player, but still he survives.
Well, we've got 2 teams remaining. Of course, Rogue Nation trying to take on the onslaught towards the players of PUBG Minions, but when it comes down to the play that Rogue Nation are trying to make, it is looking pretty great, because they've at least got the cover working for themselves. On the other front, for the side of PUBG Minion, they've got just that tree, and those trees along with the smoke is what is the reason why this team has been able to just keep themselves alive. But Rogue Nation's Admiral will be able to find himself the perfect flank angle, and in doing so, it is now a 2v1 situation, a 3v1 situation rather, wherein Admiral has been knocked, but it is going to be his teammates who will be able to get the better half of that fight. And in doing so, this team of Rogue will be bringing in a chicken dinner for themselves. An amazing play being showcased from the side of Rogue Nation, where they have found themselves on the 7th place in the overall ranking. 10 kills is what this team was able to accumulate with 25 points, 1,766 damage dished out. So a GG play, of course, to both these teams, Rogue Nation as well as PUBG Minions. But when it comes to that first position holder, we are going to have to see. Because when it came down to Fury X Nepoz, they walked away with 7 points. But on the other front, when it came down to Paradox OCE, they walked out with 3 kills on the 5th spot. So that would mean they in total will be walking away with 9 points. Very close.
Close.
Oh yes, very close indeed. I'm not entirely sure, because with that 1 point advantage that Paradox had, so that 9 will also be brought down to 8. So again, it will be probably just that 1 or 2 point difference between the first position holder and the second position holder. It couldn't have gotten more crazier than this. But with that, let's move on first along with the MVP. That is going to be Sprout with 4 kills, 2 assists, 679 damage, and that is where he was able to get his team all the way up to perfection with, of course, that chicken dinner.
The best spot for Rogue Nation was this finish in the top 7 and top 8 spot, and they were certainly not looking good, looking off guard, but the went in this final game itself, everything was looking good. And talk about this player, Sprout, where was he? He's the gem of this, Rogue Nation found in this last game itself. It was just this last game itself where we just saw Sprout's gameplay Had there been some more Sprouts gameplay, indeed, things could have been really more strong for Rogue Nation. But certainly in all these 3-4 games, he have really shown what he is made up of and what sort of confidence he brings in. And moving on along, we have the match summary where we got to see a lot of players from the sides of Face of Death, and completely this match, wherever we saw, the fight was on, and one team that was constantly pinning down other team, and that was of Face of Death.
Absolutely, that is so very true. Of course, with that, we do have the match rankings on our screen. Rogue Nation walking away with the chicken dinner, but very close to them is going to be PUBG Minions as well, with the exact 10 kills. They have 22 points for themselves. Amazing, amazing play being showcased from PUBG Minions as well as Rogue Nation. But along with that, as we move on to the second page, this is where once again we do have the likes of SCL EnvyUS not participating in the placement point whatsoever at all, but 3 kills to that team. An amazing play being showcased for that side. Same can be said for Team Ronak. 3 kills along with that 1 placement point.
Indeed, Team Ronak also really played to perfection. You remember the fight that really happened between them. It was Face of Death, it was Fury X, it was Love Triangle that was created, and then it was Illuminate Crew that really tried to make it happen. No kills whatsoever, but 4 important placement points is what they will be taking away. And all in all, it really had a very decent day in terms of what Illuminate Crew was able to secure in this game itself. And I mean, in all these 3 days, I mean, all these 4 days of regional finals that we got to see, it was Illuminate Crew in this last game itself that really made it possible for them. And we just got to see the match ranking where Ixcel also excelled with 4 important kills as the 1 placement point. But somewhere down the line, Paradox OCE 9, Fury X Nepoz 7. Before this match started, it was 1 point lead with which Fury X Nepoz standing. So is it this gonna be going that strong, that close, where one team will be making their way to PMPL season 4 with just 1 or 2 points, and one team will be falling short, their hopes will be shattered with just 1 point? I mean, the suspense is on.
What I'm thinking right now is that point of time where it was Team Ronak against the players of FOD, Face of Death, and in between was Ego, right?
Yeah.
In the water. Now, at that point of time, why did Ego not decide to swim away?
I mean, yeah.
He could have. He stood there. He just absolutely stood there. And not, of course, not stood there, but he was just there. And he should have, from the side of Fury X Nepoz, that was the opportunity that was that could have favored him and should have favored him. Had he decided to swim away from that position, he would have been able to get in towards the comfort of the zone that much more.
As Paradox did.
Yes.
As Paradox did.
Exactly. And he decided to swim later instead. And that resulted in him being dropped down thanks to the play zone itself. And of course, you cannot heal yourself in the water. So that being another factor. But yeah, I mean, it could have been not entirely sure what sort of the decision that was from the side of Ego from Fury X Nepoz. But with that, we do move on to, of course, the perfect total damage graphs that are being showcased right here, where a few of these teams, once again, were part of some good fights. We've got NEPAL right there, we've got Illuminate Crew right there, but they were not allowed to get any of those
Look at the closest
kills.
slaughter. 1078 damage by Para and 1052 damage by Fury X Nepoz. This can't get too close.
Well, what a play. What a play. We've got finally time to move on in towards the overall ranking, which is going to be confirming for one final moment. Which team will it be? Which team will it be? Paradox or Fury X Nepoz? 1 point difference, and Paradox OCE take the reins towards not only walking away with $3,600, but also walk on to the stage of PMPL Season 4. Paradox OCE have made it, reigned in supreme with just 1 point difference. Again, that's the reason I was just bringing up Fury X Nepoz Ego. Dude, what were you doing? Why did you not start swimming earlier? Had you done so, it could have been a few more points in terms of the placement that this team could have walked away with. But GG play indeed being showcased from both these teams, because amazing strats is
Indeed.
what they have both brought to the table when it comes to the overall every single game, from the group stages all the way into the regional finals. But yep, we've got our winners. It is going to be none other than Paradox OCE.
They deserved it well.
Oh,
right? They deserved
yes.
it. They topped that semi-finals. They are still topping this finals, regions finals, and nobody was able to dent their dream, dent their thing, the objective that they are going for. and it is them that will be certainly going, as now the deal is done. The deal is sealed, as now they will be moving towards that slot, and also the bragging rights of being the best in this region itself. But then we got to see some other teams that really made it all happen. PUBG Minion really getting off all the blues from 13 to 14. They really have made it strong. 51 total kills, 40 total points, 91 is what they were able to secure. Legend indeed, it was their day itself where they were making it really happen. It was this close where Paradox was finding themselves in a fight between Odin from the sides of Legend, and that certainly was the time where everyone was like, Paradox OC has already wasted a lot of time, and thanks to that onslaught that came in from the sides of Legends Esports, else it could have been an all easy chicken for Paradox OC, and then it couldn't have been this close.
Wow is what I would say. Amazing play, amazing day this has been, because the final day when it comes down to the playstyle has favored so many of these teams. With that, as we move on to the kill leaders, we still do have Hazer reigning in supreme with 37 kills, 6,314 damage that he was able to dish out in the entirety of the saga that he was a part of. Along with that, his teammate is also going to be finding himself on that 5th spot. Paradox OC is G1 with 27 kills and 6,672 damage in just a 19 minutes of average survival time. So amazing play being showcased from the side of Paradox OCE. But other teams that have had a commendable approach are going to be, of course, the side of ZeroDeath, Fury, Nepoz, no two ways about it.
Yeah.
Four Godawari fighters. I mean, the list goes on is what I would say, because these teams from the start of the group stages all the way till now the final day have had a perfect journey. Some of them have dropped down, some of them have grown and risen and showcased that they are here to learn and experience and bring up that sort of a domination streak, and that is what these teams have done. Amazing play is what this has been. But with that, we do reach the end of not only our show but the tournament itself, and in that doing so, it is once again a huge thanks to you guys for tuning in, along with the huge big thanks to all of these teams who have showcased us with some incredible plays, some mesmeric plays, and some memorable plays as well. With that, I've been your host, caster analyst Blotto, and of course it's going to be Ankit. Do not forget to, of course, follow this page on YouTube. Along with that, if you do like what we do not forget to follow us on our IGL as well. With that, thank you so very much for tuning in. We'll be back, well, sometime in the future. Until then, take care. Bye bye.
Here we go now. 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 Here we go now.